modern, so.
Forgot.
But
this.
Well, it's all 28 millimeter, right?
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, it's great. I'll show pictures on it next. Yeah, I got almost all the Harbor Town I have. I'm
the leader in tabletop gaming scene.
got a couple pieces I still want to get into that.
Flexible
that.
and playable.
I saw that
Harbor
stuff
Town
at Historicon last year.
Yeah, in Lancaster. Yeah,
Yeah.
I missed going to that. I was about to go on the Friday of it, and I had something come up work-wise, and I couldn't go. I was supposed to go to lunch with Kirk that day. Yeah. It's great stuff. I mean, it's just awesome.
But their stuff is all 28, and all my figures are true 25s. I got
Really?
Granite Bears and Heritage and Ralph Parthas, so they all look a little bit weird on the 28 mil delay.
Yeah. It's funny how these old Ralph Parthas are a little bit smaller than the Reapers. You know, but then you had like the ones that made the Middle Earth figures, not the Citadels.
Was that Ralph Parthas?
Heritage. They were in a orange blister, and
Heritage.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah, I think it was Heritage.
But the elves were a little large, and the dwarves were perfect size. It was weird. Mithril. No, they're Mithrils. Are they Mithrils? I can't. I'm getting old, man. I can't remember what day it is at the time now. You know.
Well, these are strange times too. So.
Oh, Anna, aren't they? Good evening, everyone. Can anyone hear me out there? Of course, Rox is gonna say no.
What?
Exactly. Thank you for that. I appreciate you saying you can hear me. Tempest.
Oh, yeah, I need. We're on Discord too somewhere, right?
No Discord. Twitch.
Twitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you log into
Somebody shoot me the link.
Lord Gazumba channel, then you can.
You were just on. You were watching the other night on another show.
I was on YouTube.
Oh, that was YouTube? But I'm not live on YouTube.
Somebody was.
and you want to throw that over to him? Because if I open it up, I'll crash everything, you know.
Oh, hang on a second.
What's up, Cuthbert?
I put it in chat here.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
hang on a second. I'm just.
'Cause I know you're. That's what it's
going to open a new browser. So I popped out the
You
chat.
know how my luck is.
Come on here. So there we go.
Although we got a nice clean Discord. Zoom look tonight. I'm gonna run this one a hair longer than normal. All right, so this is the new Kickstarter, everyone, for Shantytown.
So the link is in chat. In the Zoom chat.
Oh, that's all right, Cuthbert. Sorry to hear that. So this is up now, guys, and I'll link. Let me link this here. If I hit the right button and not kill. Let's see. Shoutouts. Kickstarter is up. Hey, Altair. The Kickstarter is up for this, for Shantytown, for MBA. So you guys know how good Harbor Town was. I'm excited about this one too. Kirk makes some great stuff. It's a two-man team. That's it, really. This company's only 2 people. What's up, Left? Good to see you. Sunday evening. It's still light out here in Jersey. It's weird, Joe, you know? It's like, it's getting later and later every day.
And it's sudden, too. It feels like, 2 weeks ago, it would have been pitch black right now.
Yeah, because it was so like dreary, you know?
And you should try it when you're a few hundred miles from the polar circle. Then it's like an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon. It changes per week.
Yeah, I've seen Midsommar.
Oh
Yeah,
my
you almost get jet lagged in spring and fall because it changes so much.
Yeah, so you can use these buildings as a little bit of a mix for modern, futuristic, and fantasy. So. Yeah, Left. That's cool, man. I know you got a game Sunday. Man, thanks for hopping on now. It's all good. Hey, Carlos.
Hi, Carlos.
Carlos, nice. Awesome.
I still have to watch that interview you had a couple of weeks ago. And,
Yeah.
Yep.
The creator of White Plume
What
Mountain,
is the name? Yeah.
Mr. Schick.
Oh,
Greyhawk
Mike.
Mike's on too.
Mike.
It's like a
I can't
who's
wait.
who tonight.
Yeah.
Now, if we get Gary Julian and Eric Mona, then we have it's a home run. Just kidding, guys.
Yeah. That is a home run. Yeah.
It's a-
We need Malvin too. So yeah.
Yeah, so Dennis is normally good for hopping on like 5 minutes before the show ends. He says, "What did I miss?"
Yeah, he comes at least halfway. Yeah.
So if we could get Night Screed from AOL, that.
Oh,
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
Then we will be complete. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, what's going on, Retro? All right. So, guys, check this out. The Kickstarter, Shantytown. It's up and running. I think it's got 18 or 17 days left. So, what's next on Saturday nights,
now I need
guys?
to-
It's a bad allergy season there, Gary. It definitely is. Hey, Will, what's going on? Let's hope you rally. You need your second win or third win or whatever wins you got right now.
Everything is blooming here in Southern California. So yeah, if you have allergies, don't come here.
There's already the Crovis chant. Gary is chanting Crovis, Crovis, Crovis. Oh, that's awesome. Definitely need some background on that. Absolutely.
You guys realize you're asking me about an article that I wrote literally 23 years ago.
Yes, now you sound like Len LeKafka. I don't remember what I wrote 20 years ago. Did I write that? Oh.
I reread it. I reread it this morning. And,
So now you can tell us all the thing how you would like to write it if you've written it today.
that's actually
Welcome, everyone.
I like the whole thing.
Yeah, because I told you that. Why do you think I'd redo my map and make it better every year? Because it was so crappy the first time. It was so crappy, so it needed 20 years of evolution to
Yeah, and that's
get
something
somewhere.
that I wrote in college.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Well, hopefully the memories will come back because we're gonna bounce around in this area a lot. I think tonight. So I'm really excited about this discussion. This is right in my wheelhouse for my campaign too. So
You're the expert of this area.
well, expert as far as not published source, but expert
No, but
as far
at
as.
least you've adventured in this area extensively.
Yeah.
I haven't that much, so just a little bit.
And there's so much going on here too.
Yeah.
So we can discuss that.
yeah,
It's also long.
8252. Yes, I do.
Definitely going to be a fun one tonight. So let's hop in here. Did I hit the right button? Yeah, I did. Say hello. And look who we got here tonight. We got Anna Meyer and Joseph Bloch, our special guest tonight. So hello, everyone. Let me see if I can make their pics bigger as we're going. Welcome to another Gabbin. And tonight, I love this area. We've been really bouncing around. We did the Wild Coast. Then we did the Greyhawk, Greater Harby areas last week, and that was a blast. And this just fits right in because we were talking 2 weeks ago about Highport. Is it in the Wild Coast? Is it in Pomarj? And I guess the answer is kind of both. Depends on the time frame you're playing. So Joe has such a fantastic article, and wanted to invite him on because he really wanted. We had him on Legends Lore. Really wanted him to come back on a Gabbin show where it's a little more anything goes. So Joe, thanks for coming on, man. Welcome.
Thanks for having me again.
Oh, no problem. This is Gabbin's a little different than Legends of Lore. It's a little more. Everyone talks about their own campaigns a little bit more, and we a little bit more freewheeling here. So
Yep.
we'd love to hear your thoughts on a lot of things and what you have going on in your own campain.
Well, the hardest thing to do is to shut me up.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yep.
We've been on a roll with a lot of great content. Greyhawk is really getting a nice resurgence right now. I'm really excited about everything going on. And Joe, don't tell anyone, but I'm planning a virtual Greyhawk Con.
Hey,
We're going to do it.
Mhm.
First week end in October is the tentative date, and we're going to call it Virtual Greyhawk Con because I'm just that kind of guy.
count
And
me in.
if someone, good to hear. So Anna's maps are really detailed in this area, right? Because you took a lot of stuff that's in Joe's article.
Yes, that was one
And
of
put it on
the
the
prime
maps.
sources for a whole bunch of cool stuff. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, Joe, just before we go into here, tell us the inspiration for writing this. Guys,
Yeah.
this is
How did you manage to get an article into Dragon magazine?
Dragon
I
167.
honestly don't know. My own campaign at the time. This was back in college, in the late '80s. My campaign was set in Greyhawk, specifically in the Wild Coast,
Nice.
and hey, what the heck? Why not give it a shot? So I wrote up the article. I wanted to add a lot of detail, like I was seeing that Ed Greenwood was writing for Forgotten Realms at the time, and I wanted to have something of that level of detail for area of Greyhawk, because remember, this was before From the Ashes. This was all we had was Goldbox and the Gygax articles on the state of
Oh yeah, he had these campaign updates that came in
Right.
Dragon kind of now and then. They popped them. Yeah.
We're talking
Exactly,
pre-92.
I actually finished last year. I finished the going around.
Oh yeah, exactly. You continued that series and made it look like it was authentic Dragon articles. That's awesome. Yeah.
I tried. I fooled a couple people actually.
Oh, okay. They thought it was
What
something
issue was
from
this in?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was the genesis of the article. I'd been playing since the late '70s. I considered myself a pretty big fan of Greyhawk in the game, and I figured why not? And I actually wrote the article, I think, in 1989, and it took them 2 years to publish it.
Really?
I think the fact that by that time, I think they had From the Ashes in the works. So this might have been part of their effort to kind of prep people for Greyhawk stuff. So I'm just guessing on that. And one thing I did, a lot of people note at the very, very beginning of the article, there's this little disclaimer that it's unofficial.
Yes, that's the yeah.
I actually put that in myself, thinking that it would increase my chances of getting published. If they didn't think I was stepping on Gary's campaign.
Here's what it says, everyone. The following article is an unofficial description of a wilderness portion of the World of Greyhawk campaign. It is presented to show the level of background detailed in an AD&D game Dungeon Master can add to an established campaign setting. It's pretty genius, man.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if
That's great.
That was one of the things I wanted to ask, because I kind of reacted to it when I read it. It's like, did they put in a disclaimer saying that? Yeah.
No, that was my childish effort to increase my chances. And yes, the title itself was my idea.
So, all right. So Gary asked that. The title is completely your idea, which is great. And guys, I'm going to be pumping this up a lot. So here's of course now.
And I was really impressed. I mean, they it's got color graphics, and they pulled in a bunch of other graphics to put in it and tables and stuff. I mean, they really they made it a feature, which was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
one of the main articles of that issue, so definitely.
Yeah. If they had published it sooner, if it hadn't had that 2-year gap, because by the time it was published, I was in the Air Force, and I wasn't DMing Greyhawk anymore, and it was one of those, second edition had already come.
So they sat on it for 2 years before they published it.
Right. And by that time, I didn't really have time to focus on D&D stuff anymore. So had they published it sooner, I might have cranked out more articles.
Yeah.
But
what was did you get any reaction? Like, did people send you? Well, like, it was snail mail back then, but did you get reactions and stuff on it, or
not at the time? My friends saw it, and they thought I was a god because I was published in Dragon.
Yeah.
Then it kind of went out in the void, and I never got any feedback. So
Joe, it's more than I ever got. You want to hear the only thing I ever got in Dragon? And I'm not lying about this. We had a question. We had a gnome get both his legs cut off, and he got put in a backpack up top among someone. And our friend Gary wrote into dragon, how much does a legless gnome weigh? And they put that in the question section of one of Dragons. I
think
swear to
I
God.
remember
Yeah,
That
that was
sounded
us.
vaguely familiar.
How much does legless gnome weigh? It was us. So that was all I, yeah. So,
That's your
yeah.
walk of fame. Yeah. In Dragon magazine. That's awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I love the article
Mhm.
just because when you think today about the things that Jason Zavoda has done and the things that Anna has done to get all this detail and place it, and it's all on Anna's map now that we're going to
Yeah,
look
I
at,
tried
guys.
desperately to because I read the hex locations when I tried to, and I used Bryce back then, which was a horrible software to get things to look in any. And it was fractals, and they live their own life, so it was like herding cats in the right spot. So I had that and it sketched it out, and I had to sit with a sketch next to my monitor and try and match the content and figure it out. So I tried and fill it in, and
So
I don't.
there's two pieces of the article that kind of became canon anyway.
Okay.
The first is that the Pomarj got its name from the Poor March.
Oh,
Everybody
so
glommed onto that.
and that's not true. You made that up.
I made that up. That was me.
Okay.
At least as far as I know, it was.
Okay.
Great.
Great.
30-year-old memories, but that and the location of the humanoid tribes, those actually made it into the living Greyhawk Gazetteer.
Oh, it did. Technically,
Yeah.
some of them are in here too.
Maybe
A little bit, yeah.
yeah, but there's like they took some of those locations and they put them in, and I checked, and yes, they took my location. So at least a part of it made it into some semblance of canon. So yay.
Well, you got a massive crowd on tonight to see you here, Joe, and talk about all this. So I'm really excited. Thank you all for hopping on. Like I said, I apologize if I miss anyone that I have a shout out for. I'm trying to get you all because, man, the family's growing, and that's such a great thing.
You are from Jersey. You said use all.
Use guys.
All.
Yeah, but see, once again, I have that
guys.
I have that Philly accent. I don't have that New Yorker accent, you know. So that 195 splits the state right in half there. So you know, and I got my Flyer stuff all in the Eagle. See that Super Bowl over there? See that football back there? Yeah, 52. Finally got it. So
well, I've got an R2D2, so you know.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, we're gonna bounce around a lot tonight on discussions, and just let's, and Joe, if you don't know that much, just synopsize, or Anna can do it a little bit too.
I'll make it up if I don't know.
Yeah, that's good. That's good because we can't get Gary on to talk about this kind of stuff, even though he's doing a campaign in it. Talk about like how the Pomarj became like the Pomarj with the Hateful Wars and what it was before.
Basically, the Pomarj, at least in my conception, the Pomarj used to be part of the Principality of Ulek, with the Dwarven Prince, ruling over both areas. The dwarves were eventually kicked out by human petty lords who ruled for about a decade or so, and that's when the Hateful Wars kicked in and basically kicked out all of the humanoids from the Lort Mill Mountains, and they all came through the Sus Forest and into the Pomarj at exactly the time when the dwarves who could have protected the Pomarj had already been kicked out. So the human lords were hoist by their own petard. I kind of liked the irony of that they got rid of the one thing that protected them, and then they ended up getting overrun.
Yeah. And that was a period of Keo-ish expansion, and
This
they kind of ruled over it.
This was after Kaoland.
Okay.
The imperial phase of Kaoland had withdrawn.
Yeah. After building some of the cities like Highport and Blue and stuff are Keo-ish inventions back in the day, or yeah.
Right. At least I think so.
Yeah, that's cool.
Did I say they were Iridian?
I think it was part of the building frenzy of Keoland in their expansionist phase or something, which is kind of really cool because they seem to have had that imperial phase.
Yep.
Once again, it shows stupidity reigns everywhere, right? When you think about it, just like in the Shield Lands, it could have
Yeah.
probably been stopped because the humanoids were scattered, and most of them went in different directions during the Hateful Wars, and they all got slaughtered. But the ones that went through the Sus and ended up in in the Pomarj saw, this is ripe for the taking. These guys are all disjointed, and the
Right.
lords are all,
Yeah.
they're all petty nobles fighting amongst themselves. It's kind of I look at it as it's almost like a second age fun time to actually play campaign. And I know Gary Julian's working on a Hateful Wars game. Tommy John Kelly's been writing about it. Kind of free. I guess it's in the 400s, 420s, the 480s, whatever it was.
Right.
That would be neat to go back into that time frame. But
I'd love to do a miniatures war game campaign set in that. Have a bunch of dwarven armies and elven armies facing off against the orcs and the hobgoblins and so forth. It seems like it would be an interesting strategic problem because the good allies are on either side of the mountains and the humanoids are all in the middle, so they can redistribute their forces very quickly, whereas there wouldn't be necessarily a lot of cooperation and coordination between Selene and Ulek. So I thought that would be a neat way of having a multiplayer war game.
Yeah.
Definitely a good idea, and maybe one for a convention setting. It's a shame Historicon got nixed now too. They're all going virtual this year. It's a sad state, but at least we have that. Because at GaryCon, that one gentleman runs the Battle of Emerald Meadows, and then they've run a couple other ones that are really neat. That would be another neat one to do. In miniatures.
He always runs it in the morning when I'm stuck in the dealer's room. I've asked him to run it in the evening, and I just can't make it work.
Yeah, that does stink. That is a bit of a shame there, Joe, that you can never get into that game.
Because it looks really cool. I've never been part of it, but I've seen it standing beside and see the scene and the setup is fantastic. So yeah.
And Zerathon, let me just answer your question real quick. Yes, Chainmail was a game that they did, but it's more of a skirmish game. I'm thinking like a very large scale, 15 millimeter, maybe even 6 millimeter figure, kind of massive war game kind of thing. I'd probably use the Triumph rules, which are really nice.
What are the Triumph rules? You want to just explain real quickly?
Yeah, for us non-knowledgeable.
It's basically just a miniatures war game rule set. It's made for ancients and medievals.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you can add magic and stuff to it.
So.
Yeah.
And how long is that? Was that out when Chainmail was out, or is it out?
No. This is new. This is
is it? Okay.
Yeah, just came out maybe this year. I think they had the printed version, and I think they had the PDF version about 2 years ago.
It's
Triumph with an exclamation point. It's a really great game. I've played it a bunch of times at cons.
I never heard of it. I guess it's a big thing for the war gamers.
Exactly.
Did you go to HGMS this year in King of Prussia, Joe?
No, I did not. I'm hoping to go to Fall In.
Okay.
Assuming they have it.
Okay. Because I was at HGMS, and I was that one was pretty decent too. I know it's not the size of Historicon, but that was a decent wargaming one. And I'm wondering, I'm assuming they use those rule sets there. I really want to sit down and delve into the old school large battles. I mean, because battle system really was lacking, and just get back and just see it and maybe play in one or two.
Yeah, there have been multiple attempts to do like massive multiplayer or battles systems for D&D in various editions. I don't know if there's anyone that is really good, but I guess it depends on what your needs are.
Well, there is Adventures Great and Glorious, which is amazing.
See?
Because I love
it.
So,
okay.
So, I will endorse my own work.
Joe, that's good. Yeah.
I have no problem linking whatever you want to link in the chat.
Yeah.
For links, please feel free to tonight. I really appreciate you coming on tonight. So we haven't gotten to the Pomarj yet. So Carlos has got a question about has Joe ever seen the Pomarj Wild Coast material released by Rob Kuntz, Pit of Gebbera, that he sold on eBay a few years ago?
No, I have not.
Okay. So that's that, Carlos. That answer there.
Just straight. Nope. That goes beyond. I know that my version of the sleeper was different than the original version of the sleeper because at the time, who knew? I think it was a pit fiend in the original campaign, and I made it into Crovis, the quasi hero, the quasi deity,
Okay.
and Crovis being the racial hero of the Flan race, whose mission is essentially to prevent any one power from dominating the Flaness. So I would assume that given the way the timeline runs forward after the Greyhawk Wars, he might actually have woken up and might be working to end the reign of Ayuz, or at least try to thwart him from taking over the whole Flaness. It would make sense given his mission.
Excellent. So keep the questions coming, everyone, because here's one of the negative effects of the success that I had of Legends Lore and Gabbin for so far. The chat is going by so fast; it's so hard to keep track of, like in the past, which is a great thing, and we really appreciate it all. Keep the questions coming and keep the discussion going, and we got a couple mods out there that'll keep caught up with things. So I'm really excited about just overall Greyhawk and the resurgence coming here. Joe, have you felt that at all?
Among the fans, yes, but as far as official support from Wizards, over the last few years, they've kind of dangled some trinkets in front of us. They've moved a lot of stuff that was originally in Greyhawk into Forgotten Realms. They did do Saltmarsh, which was nice, but again, they kind of genericized it to an extent. They've done a couple of those charity modules. What was the last one they did?
Oh, the
Qualish. Laboratory of Qualish was the last one, which was nice.
Yeah.
They're good modules, but they're kind of just bibbling it out. And the change in the management over at Wizards of the Coast that was just announced.
Yeah, Merle's out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Merle's is out, and I forget the name of the guy, but the new guy who's in, he actually was one of the writers for the joke Castle Greyhawk.
Yeah.
He wrote
WG7. Are you serious?
He wrote one of the one of the chapters for that.
Don't say that because Gary's head's gonna explode because he just wants to write that out of existence. All right, well.
Oh, believe me, I'm not a fan of it either.
Oh my God!
But the guy who's now in charge was one of the writers, wrote a chapter, and so I'm not really holding up any hopes that they're going to do anything with Greyhawk because I think their fear is that Greyhawk is too similar to Realms. And there's nothing really to distinguish the two, and they've put their money on Realms at least for 5th edition.
That's an interesting point.
It might make
I think that really explains it because look at the ones that they have supported. Ravenloft. Ravenloft is now available. You can publish for Ravenloft on DM's Guild. That has a lot of differences mechanically and thematically from Realms, and so it's very easy for them to break the two apart.
Yeah.
But, Realms and Greyhawk are both quasi-medieval, multiple kingdoms, evil secret societies. I can see why, if you're not really invested in the game and in the setting, if you're a suit or an accountant, I can see why you wouldn't be able to tell the difference and why you would think consumers would be confused. Yeah. I get the logic, even though I don't agree with it.
I think,
me too.
Joe, we got to get you more involved in our Discords, man. Because there's so many. The Greyhawk Online and the Cannon Fire Discord, which is out now, Gary's brought. I mean, it's going gangbusters, and all the new bloggers and all the new. I'm really excited about.
I'm an old man. It's all I can do to get on Zoom and Twitch at the same time. Jesus.
We're the same age, man.
Difficulty keeping up too.
Yeah, I know it's a lot. Social media is overwhelming a lot of times, but I am very happy that there's constant discussion going on those discords, and there's two different and unique groups on there. So for me, I'm very positive about it. And I don't, like, I know Carlos and I Lysing are of the same mindset, guys. I don't mean any offense to anyone in the world. If WotC never brings out another piece of Greyhawk, I don't care, because I'm still going to do what I'm going to do to push for the setting I love. So, but I understand for the younger crowd, it would make a whole bit of difference, and that's why Saltmarsh was at least good, because it
Well,
came out.
it's a very different mindset, I think.
Thanks,
The way
guys.
the game is played today,
Yeah.
there's much more of an emphasis on pre-written adventures. You have the adventure paths, you got the Adventurers Guild. They're on, the in the stores. Everybody's playing the same modules at the same time with the same characters, and
Yeah.
I just get the sense that there isn't that support for homebrew campaigns or even homebrew adventures in published campaigns.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Greyhawk, the genius of Greyhawk, the original, I'm talking the folio and the gold box, the genius of it was almost Hemingway-esque in its brevity.
Yeah.
You got a paragraph or two at most, except in a couple of very special instances on entire kingdoms.
Mhm.
You'd have a paragraph. You wouldn't even know the name of the king in the folio.
No, you didn't. You just their title. That was it. They didn't have their,
Right, exactly.
their name.
You had the title, and that's
Yeah.
all you had. And everything else was left open. There were no deities in the folio. Everything was left open for the DM to fill in the cracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the box set, they added deities and a
Yeah,
few
they
more
put
things,
in
but
a
it
lot
was
of
still
stuff. Most of it came from Dragon.
yeah.
Most
Oh,
of it
yeah.
was
Yeah.
just- they
Or
collated
Leonard's.
a bunch of Dragon magazine articles and
Yeah.
they put
Yeah.
the gold box.
And vast areas were barely even talked about. So
Right, they didn't add detail to the
Yeah.
setting itself, to the glossography or anything. So if you compare that to today,
Yeah.
where it's very much more of a corporate entity than it is a hobbyist game.
well, yeah.
And I think that, in a way, Greyhawk is better off that we're not caught up in that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
It would be awesome.
Today's situation is kind of good. We're riding on a wave of interest without being caught up in the problems of it. So yeah.
We may create our own problems with calling it.
Yeah,
Greyhawk
exactly.
time,
We
but
create
that's
our own
okay.
problems. So yeah.
But think about this, because I did that series of Beyond the Flanness maps years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, Anna, you've used those in your work.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah.
a year or two ago, I did the whole Backlunish Basin, and I did a whole workup with deities and monsters and classes and spells and all that. If we were in the same position as the Forgotten Realms is right now, there wouldn't be room for that level of innovation.
True.
Right?
That's true. Yeah.
True.
There wouldn't be the nooks and crannies that are left to explore by DMs.
True.
And,
yeah.
I really think that that's an important element of the game that only us and the old guard really value anymore.
Yeah, and it also depends on how you publish things. Meaning, if you publish modules and tell details and whatever, then people adopt and say, oh, that's the way you do it. But back then, look at the early, there was no modules or anything more than Hamlet, meaning the box set was just an idea. Here's some simple templates and run with it and do whatever you want with it. But you're right, nothing like that, hardly anything like that being published today.
Well, look at Vault of the Drow. Vault of the Drow is what, like 16 pages?
But it's a campaign setting. It's really not a module. It's a campaign setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what you had. You had these 12 or 16-page modules.
Yeah.
Like hell.
G1's 8.
The whole of the Hill Giant King is like 12 pages.
Yeah.
And that's what you had, and it was all very minimalist and generic. And you could put the whole of the Hill Giant Chief in. In City State of the Invincible Overlord or in your own game, and it didn't, it didn't.
Today you have
intense ties, and you had to play this, and then it led into this, and if you didn't do this in here, then it's not gonna. Which I'm not a fan of adventure packs, I gotta say.
Well, I don't run modules per se. That's not my thing. When I do, I buy some of that stuff. It's Greyhawk related. I try to get everything just to get the details on my map. But for my own games, I read a lot of it, but I don't use it as intended. No, I don't think Amulet is the only module I've ever ran as intended.
I have run Amulet probably 10 times, and never have I run it twice the same way.
No, and I've had players been in Amulet like 3, 4, maybe 5 times or something like that over the years, but that has been more like, oh, let's go back to some of these original places we were 10 years ago in our games. So yeah, more for nostalgia to go to that and eat that kind of food or whatever. So more like as a gimmick rather than part of the plot.
2 things, Gitano, please link that big thing you put in chat about using something of Joe's so I can see it again. It's so far back. So, and secondly, Gary asked Joe, this question. Was Eric Mona ever in your home game?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
Cool.
It is one of my claims to fame.
Awesome. Let's hear it.
I was Eric's DM when we both lived in Boston, and I had put up. There's a bookstore there called what is it called? And now it's called Pandemonium. At the time, it was just called the Science Fiction Bookstore. It's at Harvard Square, and I put up a little sign, players wanted, and he was one of 3 people I think who answered. So we had a campaign in my apartment in Boston. I guess it was in the late '80s, early '90s, and yeah, he was. That's when he looked like David Mustaine. He had the red hair going down to his back. It was just he was just a friend. He was just a guy, and then he went on, obviously, to be, the Eric Mona. But he actually thanked me in an issue. I guess it was O-Earth Journal. He actually thanked me for stoking his love of Greyhawk.
Great.
Which I thought was just too cool.
Well,
yes, he was one of my players back in Boston in a Greyhawk campaign. So yay.
So if you all saw in chat in the Flanish Geographical Society today that Joe placed something about Earl Haisinlu and take a map, and then Eric posted something, and I basically dared him to come on the show and chat. So, and he said, let me check my schedule, and that's where it ended. So we will see from that point on. So this year-long quest may finally be over. Maybe Joe, Joe, you've got a lot of connections going way back, which is so awesome. Besides Eric, anyone else like that you played with that was, of that level? Like
probably not.
No. Did you play with Alan at all? Alan Growy at all?
We've met. We've had lunch and stuff like that. But no, he's down by you. Or at least he used to be. And now he's out in the forgotten Midwest. So. But he and I have been obviously friends, and we chat via email and stuff all the time, or over the years. But no, we've never actually played, he and I, which is a failing, I think.
I just had him in a game of mine with Scott Casper and Anna and a couple others about a month and a half ago. So that was the first time I've ever played with them, which is great too.
Yeah.
So
we're
getting there.
Snafu, no, the articles that are from Dragon magazine are intended to stand alone. So that's where that's what they are going to get. That's as far as they go. I kind of like the idea of keeping them as those articles.
I found a Gitano post. I used Fields of Glory back in the day when I posted conversions of the Dragon magazine armies as armies of the Earth. Joe gave me a hand with making base markers with the information of the Marauder models. Okay, and Gitano lives right in Philly, and he's a great guy. So
I remember that was a bunch of years ago. I was big on that game at the time, and it's still a really good game. But then they came out with the second edition, and I'd already invested so much in the first edition, and then all of a sudden, poof.
Oh man!
So it was like, I'll just move on. But its strength was those army books. It had army books for like everything you could think of, and they were really detailed, and it was like reading a medieval history book.
Awesome.
So it was
Yeah.
really nice.
So, guys, look at that. We spent the first half hour and we haven't even really talked about the topic tonight, which is great.
Exactly. We haven't really dug into it. So yeah.
That is so fantastic, and that's the great thing. Joe, how much have you used of the Pomarj in your own campaign? Like when you wrote this article, were you playing in that area, or
We were playing in the
Okay.
Wild Coast. So
okay, you did say that, yeah.
yeah, so some of it did get used in that campaign. That was a really wild and woolly campaign. As I recall, there were storm giants who were flying around in flying ships, attacking towns on the Wild Coast, and the players were fighting them. And so yeah, it was one of those kind of high level-ish, anything goes campaigns.
All right, so we're gonna take this question. Nixel asks, "What's the most distinct thing about Greyhawk that separates it from Forgotten Realms?" That's a great question. So we're gonna take that. What do you think, Joe, Anna?
Anna, you go first because I have a long and winding answer to this.
Oh, cool.
Okay, yeah, mine. It's. I think that for Greyhawk is one of the it depends what if you take other settings like Forgotten Realms and Greyhawk are different in the way that they are not developed to be sold as products. They are developed originally before they were made into a product to sell, so to speak. A lot of the more other ones, if you take when they came more modern ones today, they are being developed. I'm thinking about Golarion that is used for Pathfinder. That one is designed to be modularized, sold as products, and that's nothing bad. In many ways, it's a good feature. But Greyhawk is originally Gary's home campaign world, and then they kind of altered it and packed it into a few small neat packages and sold. But it was not originally intended to be made into hundreds of products and sold and so on and so forth. So in that way, it's more of a hodgepodge over the years that have kind of melded into products and stuff much later on, and that way it's kind of has a much more diverse history through its publishing life, so to speak, than a lot of settings that are designed to be cool products and neat products and designed with that in mind, so to speak. That is one of the from a business perspective, that is very different, and that makes it both more interesting but also damn difficult to find, because you have to look for, if you want to have a complete set of products that comes from Greyhawk, you have to look for a 40-year span basically of stuff that from came out from Ghost of Saltmarsh all the way back to 76 or 75 or whenever the first folio or something came out. So, and the first kind of OD&D had a little Greyhawk pamphlet or something, meaning there's a huge span of over 40 years. It's the whole span of the RPG of D&D history that are products. So you have things from very different editions of the game, completely different settings. Some things are shoehorned into Greyhawk that doesn't even belong there. Some things are silly stupidities. Some things are overly serious military analysis and stuff.
Older than that, Anna.
Oh my gosh!
There you got. Yeah, there you got. So
Wow.
So Greyhawk is more diverse that way than any other game setting, I think. More than anything, and some of it is hyper commercial, made into products. Some of it is just awesome, cool. And you also have the same on the fandom side. You have the same thing. You have things that are in development and made now and blogs about it, and you have gems that are made 20, 30 years ago that are available here and there on the web and stuff. So in that way, it's one of the most interesting game settings from that perspective, but it's also one of the most kind of difficult, and you have to struggle in order to get in and get everything. Thankfully, now on Drive-Thru RPG, a lot of the old goodies that has been out of print for 25 years, now you can get them in PDF. And that is, I bought a lot of the PDF, even if I have the prints, because I scanned them back in the day, so I had them as a kind of bad PDF, but now they're actually available in really good PDF, so they're OCR'd, so you can scan them for names and stuff like that, and it's great. So that's another way of supporting and showing interest for it. So that's my winding answer to.
So Joe's going to take a long one. I'm going to take a short one here, and then I'll have Joe go last here. David Leonard Snafu, and he has got a great blog, guys. If you've missed it, please check it out.
Yeah.
Brought it up. It's the setting that you take and you utilize what's there, the basically the structure, and then you fill the floors, and that's what I've done since like 1980, and that's why it's so awesome, because my campaign's not that it's different than a lot of others, but it's my campaign, it's still Greyhawk. Nixel asked, well, we need the dragon back. No, you don't need the dragon back when you got this great publication too right here, man. This is all. So check that. Yeah. So did I link that? Did I link the Earth Journal? Oh, here. I'm gonna link the Earth Journal. It should be still going up too, guys. So you want to check that out too. All right. All right, Joe. I want to hear your answer, man.
Okay. So my answer is Greyhawk is messy, and I think this goes with what Anna said. Greyhawk is messy because it was born at a time when there wasn't the hard division between fantasy and science fiction. And City State, the Judges Guild campaign setting has the same benefit.
Yeah, true.
Is that there's nothing wrong in Greyhawk with mixing technology and magical stuff. You see that obviously with things like the machine level in Castle Greyhawk, or Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, or
Merlin, especially Priest of Merlin.
Yeah, Merlin is a special case because he has the 6 guns. He's the only one who can make the 6 guns work, because nobody else can make
smoke powder
work.
Yeah.
in Oerth. Or Oith, that
guy. Just say Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that that kind of freedom lets you have a kitchen sink approach to a Greyhawk campaign that would seem clunky in another campaign like Forgotten Realms. Now, Forgotten Realms is a kitchen sink campaign in its own way, but it has to my mind, it has a much harder barrier around it. You're much more likely to see variations on the medieval or ancient or Renaissance theme from historical perspectives than you are to really cross genre boundaries, like with a Merlin who has 6 guns, or a crashed spaceship, or a level of a dungeon that is essentially a factory. And I think that messiness, the fact that it wasn't just Gary's campaign, it was Rob's too. And a lot of people, kind of forget that. Rob did a lot of the heavy lifting for the game once TSR became a real going concern. And then you have admixtures in from a lot of other authors, even in that early period. I mean, Hidden Shrine of Tomoakan. That's one of those classic modules that really went out of its way and defined an entire area of the world of Greyhawk. That wasn't Gary or any of the original.
That's true.
Folks. That was just I forget the guy's name, but he was just a guy who wrote a module for a tournament, and it got sucked into Greyhawk.
Yeah, all the Mexican lore. Yeah.
Yeah, but exactly. But it added a whole deity, Sternalia. Sternalia comes from that module, and from her we have her as the mother of the 3 gods of war, and none of that relationship would have come except for him writing in that one little blurb in a character description for a pre-gen character.
Wow.
So I think that you have that accretion, but as Anna said, it wasn't because they were writing a module for publication. They wrote he wrote a module for a tournament. He wrote a module to be played.
It was a C, yeah.
And then they kind of shoehorned into Greyhawk afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
But I love that idea that it accretes stuff, at least in the early days. It accretes stuff on a natural level, kind of like a barrier reef.
Mhm.
And so it's not, it has Gary stuff at the bottom, but then you have Rob stuff, and then you have Len stuff, and then you have all these other things just kind of settling in and finding where they fit in it. And it has a very kitchen sink atmosphere
Yeah.
that I think is different than the kitchen sink atmosphere you have in the Forgotten Realms, because its kitchen sink crosses boundaries, crosses genres, whereas Realms, to my mind, has variations on the theme, and some of it is quite inventive, and I like Realms. I'm actually a fan of Forgotten Realms, but I just think that, to me, is the dividing line. Is that for Forgotten Realms, there's a line that the authors and I guess the publishers just won't cross, because that would break the expectations. Whereas Greyhawk, from the earliest days, had things that broke expectations because they crossed those boundaries of genre. So that's my long and winding.
It's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great point. It was a great question too, and that's
Yeah.
why it had to be answered. Something of that, we makes you think, and you could take it out and look at all the different connections. I mean, I know that there's All Dragon has a oh my god, my brain just shut off. Not Planescape. Oh my god, see, I'm getting old with the ships and oh god. Spelljammer. He's got Spelljammer Greyhawk game going on. So and I know David Big Mac plays in that too. So so there's a lot of different. Yeah, that's true. Great point. Spelljammer. My god, I'm telling you, losing my mind here. All right. Great. We'll keep on answering the questions that are going on. Thank you so very much. How often, Joe, were your Wild Coastians getting into all this? Were they like skirmishing a lot, or was there adventures you placed, or what did you do?
It was all just at that point. It was all just sandbox and me improvising.
Okay.
I very rarely, when I was playing back then, I very rarely wrote out adventures. I was much more of I'd write out a region, and I'd have an idea of what was going on in my mind, and then I would just let the players loose, and I'd improvise as they went along. And
okay.
It's a nice skill to have.
Yeah, but you improvised, but you had this detail.
Yeah, well, you make it up as you go.
Wow. Did you place any of these troops? Like, did you just this makes more sense here, or was it more fill in the map?
You're asking for levels of detail that after 32 years are not.
Let's go to a map, guys. Let's go to a big map. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Let's go take a look. All right, this is my Pomarj campaign map that Anna's edited. Pomarj / Principality Ulek with my locations. Principality Ulek and 3 actually in the Pomarj. But let's go over. All right, let's go up to this one first. We'll bounce back and forth. Hey, there's Jason. What's up, Jason? Good to see you. So you have a lot of locations that are in a lot of tribes that are in on page 12 of Dragon 167 on this, and the great thing is Anna added all the heraldry for him years ago. How many years ago was that, Anna? About 20?
That is almost 20 years ago. I think that was one of the earliest heraldry I did, apart from the City of Greyhawk and some. But that was my first own designs. Some of them are stolen from various, meaning that their description was there, so I made it, and so some of the designs are not mine, but I put them in there, and some of the designs are complete. Most of the tiny ones are just my idea of what it could be. So it's me kind of fumbling around in Coral Draw back like 20 years ago when I didn't know much what I was doing. So but they kind of, people haven't complained, so they're still there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. One thing about the humanoids, if you remember way back to the first monster manual, it says notable orc tribes include and notable goblin tribes. Those are these.
Mm-hmm.
The names from the original Monster Manual are the names of the tribes.
Oh, that's right. They say,
Yeah.
and they listed some hobgoblin, some orc. They listed
Yeah.
a couple of them. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So that's where I got some of the names, not all of them.
Yeah.
But that's where some of the names came from.
Mhm.
very good to see you on Very Juicy Kiwi. It's good to see someone from PAX Unplugged. Gatano's on as well, who you play with. He's Lord Grendelwolf, so you guys can say hi to each other from PAX Unplugged. That is awesome. I notice if you look at this map, you see Highport A2, Secret of the Slaver Stockades on this map. You also have all these unbelievable tribes heading into the Sus, and then you head toward the east. Kill and Leklas, we'll talk about that in another one. What is the Crypt of Crovis on this map, Joe?
I mean, where should it be?
Look, it's on here. Look under
Is
Blue
it?
Eye Knolls. It's on the map. Crypt of Crovis. As you can see it,
Okay.
under Blue Eye Knolls, near the D and Draken's Grabs, it is on the map.
So is it?
It is. So
Okay.
Anna placed it on the map.
Yep. I tried to put
So-
as much as I could. Yep.
Can you explain that to everyone? And I'll go back to the main screen here.
You're asking me to explain what she did? Or
Well, yeah,
just
because you
her
have
to explain?
Crovis's avatar here in your article.
I barely knew what it was, but I had to put it.
Well,
somewhere.
I did mention it earlier on.
Yep.
That Crovis is the quasi deity because
Yep.
I when I first saw the quasi deities in Dragon, I loved the idea. I loved the idea that there's this hierarchy below godhood. You know, you've got greater gods, intermediate gods, lesser gods, demigods, and then you've got this whole chaotic little hierarchy. There's quasi deities, there's hero deities, there's heroes. There's this whole thing in there, and I loved the idea of that. So I wanted to have one of my own. And it's interesting because the idea of heroes as a class of being actually comes from the original deities and demigods. The hardcover.
Absolutely.
And yet the only attribute that they seem to have is that they all have like really good saving throws. That's like the only mechanical thing that defines a hero. They all have saving throws.
Well, they have multiple classes too. A lot of them have like 3 classes, right? Like Vanamoinen in Finnish is really super powerful, and he's a hero.
But that's not in the description of a hero in the book. It's the only thing that they say. Heroes have saving throws of bum. That's it. Everything else is just kind of on. So, I mean, obviously the thing with the classes makes more sense. But in terms of mechanics, that's kind of where you start, and then you go up from there. And I liked the idea so much, I wanted one of my own.
Give us a little background about this hero deity, please.
Well, Crovis,
Let me do this. I have it. I snipped it in. I don't even know why I'm doing that. So go ahead.
Well, the whole idea of Crovis is that he's the hero deity of the Flanish race. He's at least 1,100 years old, and his mission, his reason for being, is that he exists to prevent any particular power from dominating the Flanaess. And he's done that a couple of times in the past to stop. Probably Vecna was one of the things that he stopped earlier on. But he's the guardian of the Flan people, and he rests in his crypt. It's kind of like I think the inspiration was the German legend of King Heinrich, Henry the Fowler, who's said to live in a mountain in Germany, kind of undying, and he will come and he will emerge when Germany needs him the most. There's several. I think King Arthur also has a similar legend attached to him. So I think that's where the inspiration for that was.
Interesting. So a couple things I noticed in here, and Gary says that in Gary's campaign, he's had Sul mages ward his resting place, so he can't raise right now because he says he should have come up at some point, which is kind of funny.
Probably come up when Ayu's took over most of the north.
That's a great point there, Gary.
I like that idea.
Really cool. His magic resistance is applied equally. Doesn't matter on the level, so he doesn't lose it above the 11th level casters, like in base rules. So it's 40%. It's always 40%, which is
Right, I think I stole that from the way that magic resistance works for daemons.
yeah. It's based on spell level, not on casters.
Yeah. I think that's where I might have gotten that.
That's cool. It's a great read, everyone. It's the sleeper is what it's titled in this article. 2,000 years it says he's been asleep, and that he let's see here, he his crypt the Empire of Lumna Mad, both which occurred over 1,000 years ago. So he has arisen when he needs to. Pretty really cool, and it's right on Anna's map where the crypt is, guys. So Anna had Anna, so you placed it obviously based on this. So
Yeah,
correct?
oh yeah, I try to when I find, and that's the tricky bit, because the text often they mention stuff. Some of it is outspoken, meaning they say town so and so, village so and so, but some of the places are only hinted at. There's like in even the Undying, they can say that a person so and so came from his castle or something like that. And I realized, okay, that means that it must be a castle that that person controls, or a keep or something. But the keep is not named and is not placed. So then I put a keep that belongs to knight so and so and ruler so and so. So some of the places are kind of derived content, is not actually mentioned, but it's so hinted at that it's kind of obvious that the place exists, so to speak. So there's some of the content, and I realized that it's described that he has a crypt and he lays there wait for the time. So I realized I have to put a crypt there somewhere. So I put it, when I do an area, I put a list of these things. So first I put the things that are placed on maps and described in the text. First I put the stuff that are on published maps, so to speak, and then I take the obvious stuff that is mentioned, meaning there is a town named so and so, and there's description saying that it takes 2 days to ride from that town and is east along the coast. Then I take that and make a circle and say somewhere there that town needs to be. And then when I placed all the stuff like that, then I realized there's some contradictions. That town is west of where it's supposed to be according to some other description, and I get these inconsistencies. In every realm has a few of these inconsistencies, and then I simply have to move things around so that most of the descriptions make sense. And then you have the derived content, things that if you read the text, you can kind of see that it should be there. And then I add that to fill in the blanks. And then sometimes I even add things that I like roads, that meaning if it's a city there and a town there, there should be a road. And then I add the roads in between, so to speak. So that's basically the process. And text goes before maps and images.
And it's funny, there's actually 3 sleepers now.
Okay.
In the Dragon Realms. There's this Crovis,
Dragon.
the Earth Dragon, and there's that the Pit Fiend that was in the original campaign. So
and now I'm so curious. The Earth Dragon, please.
We will get we will get to them.
Okay.
Next one. I want to ask one question of the audience first. Gary and everyone else. Is Crovis published source canon? Yes or no? Because
it's now.
Because yes, I would say the answer is yes. Correct? Just throw that out there. I'm asking that question. Is it published? It's in my game. So, Longitalis. Yeah, he has. Joe had him fighting Vecna. Out against Vecna.
But then he can't be sleeping for 2,000 years, because then it's kind of
Yes, so
it depends on when you have put Vecna in
and
your
Crovis with a K. So I want an answer to that question. I think because it's in the article in the Dragon magazine, it is too exactly, David. Too good to not be canon. So there you go.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so good start to the high port. I'm going to go back to the big screen again real quick, everyone. Here we go over, and let me see if I can hit. Once again, I'm trying not to hit the wrong buttons like I do all the time. And let's go to the next map here. Okay, so this map here shows an area that is really, you got the northeast coast of the area of
And one of the most
Pomarj.
underutilized areas in the Pomarj, so to speak. There's not much
Absolutely.
there. Yep.
Absolutely. And you got a lot of you still got the dead rat kobolds. I love
Yeah.
that.
That's
You
why I
got
made a lot of rough hills there
Yeah.
because there needed to be a reason that no one really lived there. So yeah.
the pit of Gebra. That's the pit fiend's pit, correct? Or is that something different? I don't. Or is that Living Greyhawk? But you have Draken Keep, and then you have Kellen Lekos, and this is, I think, the map we should discuss that on. Is Saltmarsh anywhere near here? Saltmarsh is
It's
in south of Dreadwood in Keelland. It's not that far, but it's not that close either. So
it's like 700 miles or something like
yeah,
that.
and it's in the
It's almost 1,000 miles to the
Yeah,
southwest.
exactly.
It's not
Almost
here.
1,000 miles.
it's in a
Yeah.
remote area of Keelland.
Yeah, it's a
A lot of
southern
people.
frontier of
I didn't even realize
Keelan.
it was Keelland.
It's
at
actually
first.
not. It's between Kaeland and the Sea Princes. It's in a kind of a no man's land around the marshes.
They kind of, I guess, I don't know when they decided that it was, the whole marshes, part of the whole marshes were in Keelland. I did
I
not
think
know
in,
that, but yeah.
in Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, definitely, but
Yeah.
they wrote it back, so to speak, that
All right.
Keelan conquered it, blah blah something. But
So
Gary knows
there's
more
that
about
map.
that.
Let's go back here and get back to the main screen here. So,
Mhm.
Kellen Lekos is the base of the slavers in this publication. Okay, this is the base of yes. I really love this publication just because of the detail. But if you really, there's some stuff that a lot of people are not fond of, but there's some really cool things. Joe, what do you think of this, and what do you think of the whole slavers deal?
I gotta say, I know that the slavers as a thing are very popular among
Right.
Greyhawk fans. I've never found them very compelling.
Okay.
Just yeah. I've played the modules. I think I've played the first two as just straight modules, not as part of a campaign. Just use the pre-gen characters and run them through. But I never really got into them all that much. I acknowledge them as part of the Greyhawk canon, and I know that they're important to the Central Flames, but they never really grabbed me. To be
Okay.
honest.
Now, if you were playing a Harby campaign, maybe they would have, because of all the ship. I'm more of a ship-based guy, and we did a lot of Harby adventuring, and the slavers really
Okay.
come into play.
I got
Yes. Good.
There's a geographical puzzle here.
I want to hear. Yeah. Good.
Okay, so there's a town in the Pomarj called Blue. Right?
Yes. That no one knows anything about.
But across the Sea of Girnat, there's also a town called Old Red.
Okay, and that's in Onwall.
I think it's in Onwall or I think it's either in Onwall or Almore. I don't remember which.
Okay.
No, Old Red is in Nyrond.
Okay.
It's on the. It depends on what. Yeah, it's in Nyrond. Yeah, I don't think it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So my theory is that they set that up so that they could have naval battles, naval miniatures battles with one red team and one blue team.
Are you sure? Who told you that?
No, I just my own.
That's fun. Yeah.
We got blue on one side, we got red on the other. Let's have a naval battle. Well, let's use that for naval battle.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and the funny thing is that Keelland is the red state, and back in the Great Kingdom days they were the blue ones. So that will be kind of funny too. And the city names will be opposite from their country colors back in the day. So yeah.
So, well, Joe, you'll have to excuse me. I do have to go over a little bit of the slavers of Killing because Carlos is on his favorite nemesis in the entire world of Greyhawk. Is it here? I mean, the most evil of non-dark elven elves in all of the area, and that would be the original Marquesa, right? And she is bad.
Better than Keek?
The thing she does, the experimentate. Oh my God, the changing other elven females to make them look like her, make them copies of herself. Yeah, she's really one of the most awful of all the slavers. See how I adore you. I know it, Carlos. I wanted to save the discussion. And And Carlos's modules are fantastic when it comes to that realm. And Anna played the third one right at Gen Con,
Played
wasn't it?
in 2
Oh, Gary
at
Con.
Gary Con.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And yeah.
combine that with the other slavers, and there's a picture of all of them, and that's why I love this book. It really details them all. One of the guys is a fallen paladin, the guy with the Mayheen symbols. He's lawful neutral, and he has this obsession for collecting items. And he just goes there. He's there because he can collect things. It's really it's a crazy group. An evil halfling, an evil half ogre, and then Stalman Klim, who's the head of the Earth Dragon cult. What do you think, Joe, about the Earth Dragon itself? The cult.
I like the idea of
Okay.
the Earth. Although I kind of liked it better in the original 4 modules, where it was just literally a dragon, and they had established this cult around it.
Right.
In later things, I see that they've actually turned it into a deity.
Yeah.
Where you can get clerics can get spells and stuff from.
I had the specialty priest completely written up. So no, seriously, because we use them a lot, and usually there's a priest of an Earth Dragon on the slaver ships, because the slavers are all Earth Dragon worshippers according to that. So I kind of use them. I was just curious on your thoughts on it, because
but I loved the idea that it was the Earth Dragon awakening which destroys the city. You know, that's what causes the volcanic eruption that destroys the city, and the players have to flee to the boat. I liked that irony, and also how they worked in the sleeper theme again,
right?
In Pomarj.
It definitely. What I like about it is that it doesn't pull punches as far as how evil the sect is. Like the priest, in order to ascend to his 9th level, and you notice in that picture, that skull is a good dragon's skull. They have to get one. They have to kill a good aligned dragon. So they're not pulling punches in the book here either about how vile the sect actually is. So I kind of like that too. And they got their own unique magic items, and they use military pick. I mean, who else uses a pick? As his main weapon. So I kind of like that.
One thing I didn't like about the slavers, the module you held up, is that it kind of brought them back without, without a real path to coming back. And all of a sudden, they weren't just in the Woolly Bay; they were in the Near Div, and they kind of they went from being defeated.
Yeah, they went larger organization.
Yeah,
yeah,
but they didn't really lay out how they magically just popped into existence, and they were more powerful than before. That kind of, I have the same issue with Return to the Temple of Elemental Evil.
No, we don't even talk. No.
I have to wonder if the author ever read the original Temple of Elemental Evil, but that's a different story.
All right, so real quick, Blue Box is working on some things for when he starts his Grail campaign up, and he goes, "Why the hell are there why the hell are there dinosaurs in here now?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. Don't ask me. When I would throttle a vampire, I never opened it after that." So I agree 100%. There's some crazy stuff that's out there. Yeah, you got me flagged, but yeah, you got me messed up again there. I agree that they take the slavers way too much, but a lot of this era does that. The From the Ashes era does a lot of things like that.
Which is why I'm not entirely keen on it.
Okay, sounds good. It makes 100% sense.
But I'm also, I don't mind the changes to the time. I don't mind the advancing the timeline and the changes to the setting. That's not what I object to in this era. What I object to is not being faithful to the original source material. Slavers, just kind of used it for its own, used it and didn't really have a sufficient grounding in the original. Same thing with Return to the Temple of Elemental Evil. I thought it literally feels like he never read the original novel.
That's the interesting thing when they do that a lot. They, instead of coming up with something new, cool that is grounded in the setting, they reuse old content without paying attention to the old content. Meaning, if you take the trouble of reusing Temple of Elemental Evil, you have to ground it in something logical from the past, so to speak, then move it forward. But like you said, they don't do their homework. and it's weird. But if they're not keen on using the homework, then invent something else cool in the setting.
Well,
Maybe
exactly. Why
yeah.
do they keep using Vecna?
Yeah.
Why just
Yeah.
come on? You've got
I
Lastry, the
agree.
hopping freaking prophet,
I agree
Yeah.
100%.
and you're just keep flogging this dead horse
Yeah.
Vecna just over and over. And I use God. You've got so many
But
other
it's
villains
I
that are
think it's the what we see so many movies that are follow-ups and from previous ones, because they don't want to. It's a safe, feels like a safe bet.
Yeah.
I guess business-wise. Yeah.
So I want to bring something up that Seeker of Oblivion put in here that I think Jason Zavoda will like this. Throw more stuff in the kitchen sink. The tournament version of Pit of Gebbera had Lemon Kanan. That's the guy from Finnish.
Right.
Fafford the Grey Mouser. Conan Elric of Melnibone and other PCs brought in Earth to fight the Pit Fiend. I think that's cool, actually.
That is
I
cool.
like that.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly the kind of thing that
Yeah.
you could do back then.
I love that. That's not throwing anything into the fire for me. I kind of like when you're, oh wow, boom, 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 you're getting all different sorts of individual stuff. Yeah, I think that's super cool. So definitely a great point. And so I gotta try and find that tournament thing. I may want to run it actually. It's cool. All right. So what, Joe? Any other thoughts on Kill and Let Ghost and what they did with it's overdone, but if it's anything used in moderation, it's not a bad thing in my opinion. So
I'm sure there are bits and pieces of that I could use in a campaign.
okay,
But as the whole, I mean, all of us, the sudden vast expansion of them as a power group makes no sense given the context of the setting.
I'm the same way with Scarlet Brotherhood, and that probably has more legitimacy.
See, to me, the rise of the Scarlet Brotherhood makes a lot more sense to me.
Okay.
As long as you just keep out the whole Tharizdun.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's another one
there's another one that you just keep coming and coming and.
Yeah.
So Gary just said, "How the heck did Crovis not make the Living Greyhawk Journal number 3 for shame, Eric?" Well, hey, I don't know. It should have been in there, and maybe
Yes, Eric.
if Eric, it would be pretty cool if he was if he hopped on. All right, let's go to the next map here in our wonderful flipping around of the Pomarj here, and this is the blue area, which I want to find out. You got part Stonheim on this map. You got some more of your great locations here, Joe, that Anna has placed of all the tribes. And then you have blue, which I think is the least written about town that I can think of that probably should have some data on it somewhere.
Yeah, I was almost inclined to make it a ruined city, because it's kind of there is no details of anyone actually living there now. So
Yeah, Joe, do you have any?
High Port there is a lot of information about, but blue is kind of just mentioned and that's it. Yeah.
Joe, do you have any information at all in blue?
You got as much as I do.
Because they always put it on the maps, like even in this.
But in my campaign, that's actually one of the things that the Scarlet Brotherhood have invaded. That's their.
It's on this map.
That's how
right
they.
There.
Yeah, that I made it into a Scarlet Brotherhood enclave, because they trade and do stuff with and kind of have economic and other exchange with the humanoids. So they have taken over the city. And so it's like the other side, and it's also because Scant and Blue, they can control the Strait of the Gernot. So and in my campaign is now gearing up for others trying to oust them both from Scant and Blue. So
and I do love the fact that Blue is a cipher. You can you can just do whatever you want with it, and I love that. It doesn't have to be filled in. I don't need a module or a novel or whatever. I don't need a new box set of miniatures of the heroes of Blue to tell me what the hell's in there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's referenced in the Scarlet Brotherhood reference thing because I really haven't delved into it that much because I didn't utilize it, so I don't want to be tainted. Nah, okay. So it's not there. It's just it's an enigma.
Yeah, but it's a cool. It's a place where you can you can paint in whatever you call it. It's an empty canvas.
Pirates of Blues 128-page gazetteer. Are you serious, Gary? 128 pages?
If it's not, it will be soon.
Oh my god! Oh, he's joking.
Yeah.
He's got to be joking. Oh my god! I was like, please don't tell me that that's real.
Clues. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that's just one of the.
As long as I can base my Renaissance galley fleet there, I'm good.
I noticed that North Jersey says Renee and South Jersey says Rennie.
I called it
cut across a small state. It's different pronunciations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, Mike, I can see why you've used blue a lot because you're into the sea princes and all, and it makes sense as a port for ship-based, right? In my Harby campaign, we don't get down that far south that much, so yeah, that's funny. All right, so
and yes, I really do have Renaissance galleys.
Wow!
Oh my gosh!
One. I don't even know.
Oh my gosh!
1/2400 scale Renaissance galley.
That's awesome. All right. So, Principality, Ulek, and Sus Forest, Joe. What did you use in your Wild Coast campaign? What horrors did you have coming out of the Sus Forest?
Well, the Sus Forest I love the Sus Forest because we saw it, described in pretty good detail in Gary's second book.
Right.
And
the Artifact of Evil. Yeah.
Yeah, Artifact of Evil. That's where the Lost City is. That they find the first piece of the artifact.
Yeah.
But they give this wonderful description of the oppressiveness of the place and everything.
Here's some more of it.
And I love the fact that the humanoids of the Pomarj use it not only as a highway to get into Ulek, but they also cross over into Selene from there.
Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. And it runs along the Jewel. And here's a map with my free city of Altamira at the bottom of the county of Ulek, and it runs along the Jewel and up. And there's barely anything documented in the Sus to this right now, even on Anna's map. Now, is it Treka? Is that
That's the old Sewell?
Is that where the Artifact of Evil is in? Is that it, or is that okay? But that's right on the.
No. They have a. Yeah, that's one of the mysteries because there's two sources. So I forgot to hang on a second. I'm looking at my campaign map.
So it could be in two different places. I just was my question.
Well, the thing is, I was supposed to remove one of the two, and I have removed one of the two. Yes.
All right.
So I need to remove that on my map too. If you look at the official 576 map, it's the Azul Temple at Treka. That's the one that is left. The other.
Okay, so it's actually on the border of the Principality of Ulek. I'm trying to get back to.
Yeah. The other one, the northern one, is one of the wrongs that I put there 20
Didn't
years
mean to do that twice, guys.
I
was hitting the wrong button to go back to screen one. I was hitting screen one on something else.
So I need to.
And one of the things I'm going to be doing, because I'm making as you know, I've already put out one expansion for Temple of Elemental Evil, and I'm doing another one hopefully by the end of the year. And one of the new encounter areas I'm going to be doing is something I call the Watchtower, and that's on the edge of the Sus Forest. And that is where, back in the heyday of the temple, that's where the humanoids from the Pomarj who would come up through the Sus Forest would make for the Watchtower, and then they would be taken to the temple as recruits.
So, is the Watchtower in Selene, or is it in the Wild Coast?
It's in the woods. It's in the forest on the border on the northern border of the Sus Forest.
All right, you ready for the ironies of life here? Are you okay? Here we go, Joe. We're going back to the big screen again here. So I want you to take a look on this map here. And I have the Watchers Towers. Watch 1 and Watch 2. were built, and they're built in like 1982, 1983, way out in the Pomarj, and they're run by dwarves. And the Watchers Towers were set up by the Order of Ulek to basically be that point where all the humanoids would come and try and attack and take over. And they're basically two pillars out in the middle of anywhere, and they're called the Watchers Towers, and they exist to this day out there in my campaign. So you call yours the Watchtower, and mine are the Watchers Towers. It's pretty funny. So
I envisioned it like a big lighthouse of evil. You know, back when it was working, and all the chaotic evil humanoids would just make a beeline for it because, and then they would be taken to the temple as recruits.
That's a great. Great stopover thing.
It's my plan is to populate a whole bunch of ruins like the moat house that are slowly being retaken by the forces of the temple. You know, they're being used by bandits, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm trying to create a bunch of other encounters so that you can slowly spiral in and find the temple at the middle rather than just going straight to it.
You should denote a location and give it to Anna and see if she will place it in somewhere. Here, guys, this is what one of the things that Joe has done, and I don't know why I didn't put it in the scroller because I am. Where is it? Here we go. Okay. All right. So one of them, Joe, why don't we discuss that real quick there? The Beneath the Temple of Elemental Evil.
So this is one of 4 modules that I've been talking about for years. And I finally sat down and did the first one, and the other 3 are coming. This particular one details a shrine of the Elder Elemental God, which is underneath the greater temple that was in the published Temple of Elemental Evil. And basically, it's very difficult to get to. It's one of those, it follows the Gygaxian principle that all the cool stuff is really insanely hard to find. But if you do, then you get all the, you know, that's where the fun stuff is. Like the Temple of Tharizdun. It's, you know, all the good stuff, it's nigh impossible to get to. But once you do, that's where all the fun stuff happens. And I think that's why you saw all of those divination spells, because you use them to, the players would have used them to find out, you know, is there anything more here that we can find? That kind of thing. Anyway.
What levels? It's for level, it says 1 to 8 on this, but.
That's just taken from the original module. This is definitely a higher level area of the temple. The idea is to reconnect the original concept, which had the Elder Elemental God as a part of the temple, but that had to be dropped because of a whole bunch of different reasons.
Thank you, because I'm such an Elder Elemental God proponent.
And then, and what's happening next is my module D4, City of Spiders, that's where I posted the city map on the Flannis Geographical Society yesterday. Because I have to have a map before I can write. So I spent a day taking out the encounter areas on the map so I could have one of my own. But what's going to happen there is the players are going to find out that there's a plot by the followers of the Elder Elemental God to free it. And so they're going to have to align with the forces of Lolth to stop it. And in the same time, they're going to have to stop her because she's planning an invasion.
I love 3 ways, 3 different prongs.
And the key is, if you look in the original back in the Hall of the Fire Giant King.
Oh yeah.
Any creature that is on the altar when it is activated by the drums and the things, any creature is paralyzed without saving throw. What if Lolth is on one of those when it's activated? And the Elder Elemental God pulls her in, and then the altar is shattered before it has a chance to come out. That's ultimately what the players are going to have to do in Q2, and they're going to have to find out what they need to do in D4.
So everyone, I've linked this. I linked Joe's site up. Hey, Joe's giving this all out for free. And there's a place to donate on his site. I did when so there's a couple, please feel, when we show the 5e stuff too, guys, you're gonna really like it. So, especially if you're a Greyhawkian, I know Phantom uses it religiously. So let me pop that off there. But that's a 1e, and I was just like, wow, this is really cool. So glad you talked about that. So knowing that you've connected the Pomarj all the way through to Sus, all the way through to the Temple of Elemental Evil is a great thing.
Yep.
And I really think it deserves a place on Anna's map. Right, the Watcher Tower. I really do. So, come on, if you gave me Carlos me Dun Mounds, we could put the Watcher Tower on the map.
Definitely.
So, definitely on that. So, anything else in the Sus that you've? I found this gem, Joe. Alan Grohe gave this to my buddy Bill after a 2-year search of this, and this is out of Vortex Magazine 8, which is here, and that's this Hidden Temple of Erythnal. I love this adventure. I just ran it just recently, and it is. We placed it in the Sus Forest, just north of the border with the Northern Principality Ulek. There, did you ever check this out or see this one? This is
No, can you send it to me?
Yeah, I will do that. Sure. Unofficially, yes, I will. In PDF, I will send you that. It's levels 2 to 5. It's nasty. 2nd edition rules. It's pretty cool. Where is Lost City of the Soul and the Sus, Gary? We just said that. It's a trachea, right?
And as far as who built it, it's the Lost City of the Sus.
Yes.
Yep.
Do the math.
All right. I'm going to show you on the Altamira map. Okay. All right. Joe, you should always, if you haven't, pin my Zoom thing. That way, it's on your big screen here. I'm gonna go right to it. Hopefully, I don't hit the wrong button and do 100 different things again here. So, yes, and Joe joining Joe's Patreon as well. Carlos, great point. All right, here it is. Okay, here's Altamira. Run along the border with the Sus, past south of Twembley Manor.
Yep.
Past Ridden's March, Oakenburg, there it is, a trachea, Sul Temple ruins. Okay? See that at the bottom there, where Empire, it's to the west of the Empire of the Orcs and the Pomarj shield. And that is where you have the Sul Temple ruins. Right on the border. I mean, it's not deep in the Sus, according to this.
It was one of the Sul, if you build a city there, you probably build it along the river.
So Gary says that's an outpost.
Yeah, nothing says you can't have both.
Gary says it's an outpost. All right.
That's what I changed it to. Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Originally, I put it as a city, but then I took away. So now it is the Sul Temple ruins that they're called the Temple ruins in the book and stuff. So okay. I just make it into a smaller site because I agree. Yeah,
because the book wasn't on the river. It was a couple miles away from the river because the river shifted in time.
Yeah, that means that it's 2 pixels on my map.
So what we'll do,
and the symbol is 10 pixels across. So that's the scale.
And I'm reading the chat, and I got to say, I am so pleased that people are using that 5e Greyhawk stuff in their game.
Oh my gosh, yeah!
I'm so thrilled that people are actually using it.
Oh yeah, and we'll finish up on this discussion in the last whole half hour. That's what we're going to talk about, I think, and discuss that. So it is all right. So Gary thinks it's something different. I mean, we could talk about that. He says there's a city deeper in. Maybe there is, but let's figure that out, guys. That's what. Well, we have all the brain trust here of Greyhawk, right? So let's try and figure that out and go from there. A couple things. Joe, did you follow Living Greyhawk at all, or were you out of that, or?
I'm not a fan of Living Greyhawk.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm a fan of some, and guys, wait for announcements tonight. I have a big one.
Then Joe has to herd all the cats. Of players of Living Greyhawk.
I don't want to. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not a fan.
I will do a quick shout out to what's going on in the future here. All right, so let's one more time. Let's go to the big maps, and then we'll get off. I don't need to bloviate about my campaign. You guys all know what I do. All right, so we get on here. Here's the Northeast Principality, and all these sites Anna has customized in for me. East of Thunderstrike Outpost 1, the White Tower, Arog's Mound, Winchester's Bulwark, Warmonger's Tower, Outpost 2, and the battle site on the other side. That's all in my campaign. Order of Ulek posts. It was never taken over like it is pre-Living Greyhawk and Wars. The whole east of Principality never happened. And then here is the other one with the Watcher's Towers and all. Strandkeep Castle, I think, is from Living Greyhawk. I just didn't take it off the
No,
map.
Strandkeep Castle is from Artifact of Evil.
It's on Artifact of Evil. Thank you.
That's the castle at the beginning of the book.
Thank you so very much. We're trying to figure that out. That is
they
awesome.
dig in under it and invade
Thank you,
together.
Joe.
And
where they send out the illusionary armies and they put all their spells on it. And that's Strandkeep Castle, that battle, that actually is the definition of why you build dungeons. You build dungeons so you can keep them full of monsters so dwarves don't tunnel under your walls. That's the purpose of a dungeon.
Joe, we've been trying. All right, so it is. Thank you, because I was curious as to. I couldn't figure it out. I thought it was something to do with the Scarlet Brotherhood. It's not. It's actually the ruins in. It's a ruin, and it's in that original.
It's a ruin. No, well, it wasn't a ruin in the book.
It wasn't a ruin in the book.
Exactly.
No,
the
forces of
invaded
Ulek took it over. They captured it from the Scarlet Brotherhood.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So wait a minute. The Scarlet Brotherhood occupied this in the 570s. Is that what you're saying?
The timeline of the Gord books is kind of iffy.
Okay. Okay. But it's pre-Greyhawk Wars.
Yes.
Definitely. Okay. Well, that's that's interesting. That's interesting to note that. So it was a Scarlet Brotherhood stronghold.
Yeah, Gord actually captures one of the Scarlet Brotherhood monks, who's a real weasel.
Okay.
Yeah. But if they actually run the place, or if they're just there as advisors or something, we don't know.
It's been a couple of years since I've read it, but I think they run the place.
Yeah. But it's fun. Yeah, I need to read them again now. It's
But it's a great scene. That whole the whole thing with the way he describes the armies, and they waste all the spells, and you know the filth from below has been vomited forth, and that's when the dwarves can go in and tunnel under the wall, because now the dungeons are empty. It's like that's the justification for building a dungeon, to stop the dwarves.
It makes sense. So that keep after that Gord novel, is it? I don't know. Is it?
It's occupied by, well, at the end of the battle, it's occupied by the Prince Ulek.
Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with it. Seriously, I mean, it's pretty close to what's going on. So, and someone had a great point on here. Maybe I'm misremembering it, but wasn't it mentioned that the site in Artifact Evil didn't look Sul in origin? Throwaway line mystery.
Yes, that is a thing. Yes.
Okay.
Like they were looking for a Sul city, and the one they found wasn't, and that's where the artifact was. So there could be yet another. There could really be a Sul city.
So that's what Gary is saying, that he thinks there's another Sul city in somewhere else. So it actually was
maybe I have to put that damn thing back again. We might go full circle here. We'll see.
That's awesome.
That's a debate.
Thank you,
because
Seeker.
Because there was two places, and someone found out that there's two places, and I said, damn. So then we realized it must be wrong. So we removed the oldest one that was just put there before I even do proper research, and now there might be that I was right when I wasn't even sure what the hell I was doing. So we'll see. Yeah.
No, but it's great. I mean, that's one of the great things about these chats. We're bouncing all over the place, and now, wow.
Yeah. And there's always something to add or change on the maps every time we talk like this. So
no. Sorry, Seeker, to Anna about that. That is awesome, because everything's a work in progress. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's discussions like this have made it as good as it is, so to speak, or bad. But it's as complete as it is. So it's a work in progress constantly.
We're going to go to a question way off the beat, because we've talked about this before. Cromdrod, but why is the Druid's Defile Pass called that, Anna?
That's an interesting thing. I'm not really sure where the term comes from, but I think it's a Living Greyhawk edition that the road is called that way. But it's but I love roads with names on it. So as soon as I find a name for a road, I put it in there. Yeah, maybe a few exceptions that I didn't like.
Yeah, and that's in the. My theory is it has something to do with a druid running the county of Ulek. And
Okay.
there's
Yeah.
Druid there. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
maybe the consort was a wild elf. Wild elves can be druids.
Yeah. And it
That
can
would
be
actually
back
make
from
a
the
really
flan.
cool
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
story. That
Yeah.
she falls in love with a wild elf, and it's kind of like this forbidden love.
Yeah.
that's
And
a
it's
good.
also, it can be from back in the Flan days, long before the migrations and stuff. That road might have been there since elves have probably been living there for
Yeah.
Yeah, back
thousands
when there
of
were
years.
forests everywhere.
Yeah.
So we're all Joe. You're in on Wild Elves, right? And out on Valley Elves, right?
I'm in on both.
You like Valley Elves,
I like the
okay?
valley elves. I like the snow elves too.
Oh, the snow elves. That's an interesting. So are they written about somewhere in the Greyhawk?
Yes, they
Have I
are
missed them? Yeah.
mentioned. Where the hell are they mentioned? There might have been a dungeon magazine.
Okay.
There were snow elves. I think they're in the Crystal Mist Mountains,
Oh,
and there were
okay.
rumors that there are also some in the Thilronian Peninsula.
Uh-huh. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, because there used to be elven cities up in the mountains. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I did. It was either it was either Dragon or Dungeon, and it was just like this one article that was a one-off mention of them, but they're specific to Greyhawk, and they're definitely in the Crystal Mist, and they're rumored to be up in the Rakers.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yes. So Sosaurus Merman Dan went from a crazy, a cool monster 1E2E to a 3E ball, a mirror ball with legs on it. Doesn't matter because 1E2E is all that matters, Merman Dan. So it doesn't matter. I'm just kidding. Right. So I have no idea. Who knows? I'm telling you, a lot of people, it's just, I'm not going to say it, return to something, someone's smoking something and not paying attention and just whatever they feel like
Perhaps
doing.
it has a complicated life cycle, and those are the two forms.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's highly sexually dimorphic, and one is the male and one is the female.
Great point. And Dragon 1, great. Thank you.
Thank you. That's
Yes.
the one.
Longitalis. Thank
Oh,
you.
awesome.
Dragon
Yeah.
155. Great
See,
reference.
my beer besotted brain remembered something.
Well, it's a great. I never have
Awesome.
even seen
Yeah.
that reference, so that's
Me
pretty
neither.
neat.
So now I'm copying that, and
Yeah.
I need to study that. So yeah.
Cool. All right. So before we go to the Greyhawk 5e, any other synopsis, Joe, of what High Port's High Port? We discussed it in the Wild Coast. I always liked it as a Wild Coast town, but now you got all the slavers things running there. Is there anything that sticks out in your mind in this area, in synopsis for between High Port and all?
I do have to wonder, post-war, post From the Ashes, because the Pomarj, the empire of the Pomarj, the empire where none has stood before, it takes over the bottom half, the southern half of the Wild Coast. What's the relationship there? What's the relationship between Turash Mac and the slavers?
He's a front. He's not really even real.
That's
It's ridiculous. I know. I know. It's ridiculous. In the Slavers reference, it says it's just a fake name.
I'm not a fan of that.
No, neither am I. Theg Narlet is the Half-Orc's real name of who Turash Mac is. I kind of like the Turash Mac thing of some charismatic leader. Yeah,
exactly.
they kind of downplayed that. So it just depends. But in the Slavers, they shot that down. So yeah, and Stoneheim is a cool place, though, Gary. I agree. There's a lot of neat things that the detail is not really done up in a lot of locations in the Pomarj, in particular Stoneheim and Blue. I'm not sure if it was done in some Living Greyhawk, but I don't know. Like I said, the Wild Coast and that area has always been had a soft spot for me, just because that's where we started when we first played back in 1978.
Yeah, that's another thing that Rob was going to publish at one point, was his Wild Coast campaign area. one of many things that he's got in the hopper that it would be really cool to see.
He could, and he just wants to hold on to it, and not let it out because.
No, I get the impression he'd like to see it out, but I don't know. I don't work with him.
Okay.
I'm not in a position to speculate as to why we haven't seen more stuff, like his machine level. Because remember when Pied Piper Publishing was his thing, they had a whole list of things they were going to be releasing, and it never happened. And I have no idea what's going on. He's in Corsica or something right now, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. All I know is I would love to see it.
Just hanging out
I had a
on
chance to.
island in
Yeah,
Corsica.
I talked to him, and we spent some time in over 2 days in LA. Like, was it 9 years ago? I think it would they made a documentary, and they flew in Rob Coons, and they wanted my map as a background for D&D. So I spent the day and with them when they were shooting the interview, and then we gamed at an animation studio, and he ran a game, and there were a whole bunch of people and the production crew. But the problem was that the documentary kind of got stuck in limbo when I don't know what happened, but the production company, they got in some infighting, and there were
Yeah,
lawyers
there were
involved.
two dueling Gygax documentaries
Yeah, and
that
they
both happened at the same time. I was fortunate enough to back them both on Kickstarter, and
yeah.
so much for that money.
Yeah, so they kind of disappeared, and I don't know. Yeah, something never materialized. But at least I got the good fortune of spending a couple of days together with Rob, and
Nice.
that was a lot of fun. Yep.
Yeah, I would just love to see his stuff. Anything that he publishes, I buy. Just sight
Oh
unseen.
yeah, I bought
I
he,
just-
he made a dark druid kind of cool thing some years ago. I got
yeah,
that.
the Stalk. He had the DVD CD-ROM, thing with with all the different dungeon levels scanned in and stuff like that. And anything he publishes, I will just buy sight unseen.
Is he a permanent resident of Corsica?
I don't
Yeah.
know, but I heard rumors that he moved there some years ago, but I haven't seen him active anywhere lately. So yeah.
Well, he'd also. I mean, there's a wish list, right? There's a wish list of people to get on. He'd be on the top 3 probably of the wish list there. But one small step at a time, as we always say. So far, we just keep on doing the growth at the normal rate here, and not worry about who wants to come on and who not, because we get great people like Joe who will talk about any topic, which is great. Anything we throw out there. So, Joe, just remember this.
Light of Black Eyes, go!
Yeah, we're 7 shows away from our 100th Gabbin. So you were on that invitation, because we're gonna just have an open Greyhawk on that one. The 50th show, what did it go, 4.5, 5 hours? It did. We just said we're
we did over 3 hours.
Yeah, so
I
we'll
was
do
close to
we'll do
4, I
something
think.
similar to it. Maybe we'll start it earlier, and we'll just run it. And
Please,
just
I beg you. I have to work on Monday.
Oh, well, so do I. But
yeah, hey, I would be honored.
Okay, yeah, the 100. I'm excited about. That's only 2 months away if we have one on every Sunday. So, all right, let's get into Joe's 5e conversions, because I know Phantom is a absolute complete convert to all this, and let's take a look. Now, we've talked about a couple of these on the Legends and Lore show. I think there were 3 out at the time. All right, so this one was out first. I think Factions or Organizations. Let me turn the scroller off so it just sits on these. Joe, do you give a little synopsis of each of them as we discuss them, if you don't mind?
So, I mean, 5e, is obviously much more mechanically defined than some of the earlier versions of the game. And one of the things that 5e has are factions. Although they haven't really built out the benefits of joining factions, they have factions for in the player's handbook. No, the DM's guide for like the Harpers and the Zentarim in the Forgotten Realms. So I wanted to put together something like that for Greyhawk. I actually had this as a whole single, 2 books, one for DMs, one for players. And eventually, when it became obvious that they weren't going to be making that a feasible thing for me to ever publish officially, I just decided it was the time to throw them out for free. So this was the first one. It includes a whole bunch of different factions that players can join, or that can be used as antagonists for the players. So the Scarlet Brotherhood is in there. The Temple of Elemental Evil is in there. The different knightly orders are in there. So if you wanted to be like a Knight of the Heart, that's a faction in here that you could actually join. And there's ranks, and there's there's some mechanical buffs that go with the different things because that's how they work in 5e.
And once again, there is donations that you can give, but these are all free for download, guys. Okay, and I'm linking Joe's site multiple times.
Thank you.
And
Yeah, all of my 5e Greyhawk stuff. Well, all of my Greyhawk stuff, by definition, has to be free because it's
fan
being
content.
published under Wizards of the Coast's fan content policy. And one of the things they make abundantly clear there is anything you publish has to be free.
Right.
If it's available, if they open it up on DM's Guild, that's a whole different story. But because I'm just a fan publishing this stuff as a fan, and it's using their Greyhawk IP, I have to give it away.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I ask for donations because the more donations I get, the more stuff like that I can make, and I don't have to spend time on stuff that I can sell. And I would honestly much rather be doing this stuff, the free stuff.
Oh yeah, because you enjoy it.
I got bills, so
Yeah, absolutely.
some time has to be spent on the sellable stuff.
I love this one, Wizards of the Flanesh. You took all the Jim Ward book Greyhawk Adventure spells and put them in here.
Yes, and I took every spell I could find from anywhere, regardless of edition, that was named after one of the wizards, because one of the things that in 5e, wizards have different schools. So I thought a way to anchor it to the setting would be to have those those wizard schools linked to the famous names, because that's one of the things, getting back to what makes Greyhawk Greyhawk, one of the things is it has these iconic people, these names that have been part of the game since before it was a game. Tensor, Mordenkainen, you have these things. So I wanted to tie it to that. So each one of them, what I did was I went through their spell lists and I tried to figure out what were the commonalities in those spells. And it's not just, so-and-so has all these hand spells. It's not that simple. Some of the spells are, when you look at them all in a row, they're all about transforming things from one thing to another, or they're all about other planes, or they're all about colors, or things like that. And I, having gotten all the spells, then I worked backwards from that to kind of give some color to the school itself.
I love this one because I love unique spells, and when the Greyhawk Adventures book came out, that was the highlight of that book was those spell lists, and now you've taken them and put them in 5e, which everyone else forgot, and that's what's so great about it.
But remember, it's not just those spells, because there's spells in books all over the place. Unearthed Arcana had a couple that were never made it in. Modules had stuff.
True.
Everywhere I could find them, I wanted to put them all in there because I wanted to have as many unique spells as I could. Plus, they all have different special abilities, because in 5e, it's not just spells. You get certain abilities if you're a member of this school or that school. So one of my favorite things is if you're a member of the Big B school, at the highest levels, you get to make a rod that casts all of the Big B hand spells, and it also functions as a +3 back scratcher, which will only make sense if you've read the original DM's guide.
Yes, you and Jason Zabota.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, I think it's that's a great picture there. Absolutely. All right, hey David, have a good night, man. You hung in there for a while, so I appreciate it. Good to see you on, and thank you for that. So, Greyhawk Feats, another one.
This was actually the genesis of this was in there were a couple of Dragon Magazine articles back in the 3E days, because in 3E, everything was feats, and these were done by what's his name? We just talked about him.
Eric Mona?
Yes, thank you. No, wait. Yes, it was Eric. And he wrote these things up, and they're basically just buffs that you can get. And there's a couple of some of them have there's specific races or whatever. And I just took them and I mechanically ported them over. I added a few new ones because when I had done the factions, I realized that some of the orders of knighthood, the best way to give them mechanical benefits was to make them a feat as well as a faction that you could join. So there are a few new ones.
It's tangible then.
Right. And I actually asked Eric if he minded if I would do this. And he gave me his blessing. So, so that's nice.
Well, considering he's a Paizo guy now, I'm probably like, yeah, stick it in their eye a little bit.
I think for all of his Paizo-ness, I think he still remains a great.
That's awesome. Very, very good to see. Thump the dump. Love it. So, Anna, any questions for Joe about these so far?
It's. I just love it. This is kind of cool. What limitations did you encounter in 5e? Were there any things that was kind of you had to kind of work around, add extra rules, or some areas in 5e?
Well, 5e is very specific when it comes to character classes. So every druid, no matter what school they're a member of, at 3rd level you get this kind of benefit. At 5th level you get this kind of benefit. So, and every class has those same kind of things. So trying to calibrate them all to make sure that it wasn't over powerful or underpowered or whatever. I'm sure I messed up a couple of things.
Yeah, so you had to switch out some of the 5e standard abilities and things, special abilities, and make a Greyhawk version of it.
Right, because I was going through, and I'm sure we'll talk about this when we get to the gods thing in a second. But I went through as much background material from the earlier publications as I could to bring as much flavor as I could.
Yeah.
So, when it came to defining those kinds of abilities and things like that, I always went back to the earliest sources that I could find. Just to plug in stuff like that.
Flavor's a good thing, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
Face of the Flanesh.
That's the big one.
Okay.
This is what, like 100?
That's huge.
80 pages or something like that.
Yeah.
This has 68 different gods, all of whom have a unique divine domain, including special abilities and unique spells if they had them. So, for example, in Ayuz the Evil, the book, the clerics of Ayuz have all these different spells, unique spells that they made for the book. I translated them into 5e. And I took as many as I could because, again, there are limitations for specialty clerics, you could only have so many different spells and things like that. So it was a very big jigsaw puzzle trying to make it all work together.
You outdid me. I only have 35 developed specialty priest 1e, 2e classes. So 68?
68. Well, 68 because I went back to the hoary mists of the gold box, and one of the goddesses only has druids. She doesn't have clerics.
Okay.
So.
It's great. It's awesome. That is dedication. This is to do that and to think about this. That there's nowhere for this to go is sad. That this is a reason for it not being open. Greyhawk being open to DM's Guild is very sad, in my opinion.
And Phantom NJ, the answer is yes. I do intend to do non-humans in the same way, so that every non-human deity has the same level of powers and new spells and all that stuff. That is the plan. It's down on the list, but that's absolute. I've made some progress on the elves, but it's absolutely coming eventually.
Yeah, because you got to do all the gnomes, halflings, dwarves. I mean,
Gold Glitter Gold. I love that name.
Yes. Caladoran Smooth Hands. Oh, there's a whole bunch of them.
But for the Faiths of the Flanis, one of the things I loved about doing that was I was able to bring it in to the setting so completely. There's talk of where their big temples are and which countries are they more in. I was really able to anchor it to the setting.
All right, so we got some questions out there. I'll answer one. Cromjaw, the answer is yes, especially priests 1e, 2e. whatever the deity's weapons are, it's written up like Chronicles of Alana. Of course, they can use bows. It would make no sense. It's not a cleric where they don't draw blood. That's kind of been debunked. All they can use swords and bows. Second question for you, Joe Gary Julian S. Is there a sign? Is this a sign you were giving up on Greyhawk at DM's Guild?
Pretty much.
Yeah, unfortunately, and that's sad.
Yeah. I sat on that pot for years, and
Yeah, how long has the DM's Guild been up? It's like almost 10 years, or
No,
it's
five.
DM's Guild came out with 5e. So
oh yeah, so 5e is like 7, 8 years old now.
yeah,
or
so
something?
DM's Guild I think was probably about 6 years.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a shame.
But yeah, I'm not.
They came out a couple of years after 5e. Yeah.
One of the things that pushed me to do this was I wanted to get it out while 5e was still a thing.
Yeah, because you go 6. Yeah.
All of a sudden they have
too much longer. They might just come out with a 6th edition, and I would be screwed.
Yeah.
So I wanted to
I agree, and it's a lot. This book is a lot of work. A lot. Because I know what it takes to take one specialty priest, and that's why my rule is when we do a new campaign with new firsts, a new setup with new firsts, I will only do one new one for the entire group of players, and whoever asks me first, that's it. Because you got to develop the spell list, the abilities, and all. It's not an easy thing to do. I imagine in 5th edition, setting up the domains and the special domain spells and all that was not easy.
No, not at all. Although one of the things I'm proudest of in this, there's actually because what I wanted to do was set it up for 576, the Bullbox era.
Mm-hmm.
There are actually priests of Stratus.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah. So Stratus wasn't killed until 583 or something like that. So it's possible that there were actually priests of Stratus running around, mostly in the extreme west of the Flanaess, of Ulek. But you could actually be a priest of Stratus as long as you do it before you get stuck.
You have a time limit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one here. The player
options. Also priests of the Elder Elemental God.
There should be. And there should still be, and you don't have to necessarily be just a dark elf to worship the elemental god.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
I agree.
But I would I want to do a write-up of a Clavdra as that.
That's where you and I agree 100%. Elder Elemental God all the way. And we had this discussion on Legends and Lore, I believe, on Wednesday night about the Loth bizarrety that happens from the ashes. I use the evil, and I'm like, what the hell's this? It's just I'm 100% EEG all the way because it's in D3. G3. She's in there, right? And D3, and
it's in D3 too.
Yeah,
you just have to. And that's what I'm trying to spackle over with my D4 and Q2.
Yeah, good, awesome. I'm 100% supporter on that. So player options.
Player options. This was kind of a catch-all. This is where we have Greyhawk specific races. Wild elves, valley elves.
Yeah.
I put in stout halflings.
Nice.
Because anything that was in 1E that didn't quite make it.
Do you have ogres in here?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay.
But this is where all the backgrounds ended up. So you can. One of my favorites is the Martinet. It's it's kind of a soldier background where you're more concerned about you're an officer and you get to tell people what they get, what to do, and you get insulted if they don't recognize your authority. You're basically a jerk, but it's a background that you can have as a thing. And I believe I put that in for the Horn Society. A lot of their leaders were.
Anna likes that a lot.
Oh, I'm a big Horn Society.
Yeah, me too. That were kind of, yep.
Yeah, that
for me, in my campaign, there's kind of the new Scarlet Brotherhood kind of ones afterwards because they didn't just go that easy, so to speak. It's not that easy to kill them. They're kind of have plans and contingencies and stuff like that. So yeah.
Awesome. I think this last one here, magic.
They will be one of the factions in my upcoming campaign. Yeah.
Magic items.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
This was again. This leaned a lot on the hardcover Greyhawk Adventures book. but you will also find stuff from the Greyhawk Wars, the game.
Oh yeah, the one because Mike had him in his Greyhawkery blog that one time. You know, he had some of those those little card items.
Yeah,
You're like,
I
oh,
did the same thing.
nice.
And I include them here as 5th edition stuff. But I tried to find obscure Magic items to put in there. I'm trying to remember some of the really cool ones that I found just in modules. Oh, the Demon Amulet or something. It was in D3. It's not even listed as a Magic item. It's just in the text.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's
Fire Elemental Gem.
Yeah, it tells
It's
you like 3
another one.
words what it does, and then boom, and that's all you hear about.
Do you have Deathlands in there? Please tell me you have a Deathlands in there.
I don't remember.
Oh, it's one of my favorite items of all time. It's in D3.
It very well might be. I
Yeah.
don't remember, honestly.
God, it's just a spear that they ride a monitor loader that drains levels, man. I love that thing.
If it's not, I might update the PDF.
Oh, that's...
Secret of Oblivion, no.
No Backlunish, no.
No more Backlunish stuff. However, the next place on the docket is going to be Zahindia.
Okay.
Where I'm going to do the same treatment that I did for the Backlunish Basin. There'll be new classes, monsters, magic items. There'll be a gazetteer, the whole bit. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing, because I've been watching, that show, Ancient Astronauts.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do is the temples of the Zahindian gods, the tops come off and actually fly around, and they're like UFOs, and they can blast things. So trust me, it's going to be cooler when I write it up. Plus, there's going to be a bunch of Sul deities melded into the Zahindian pantheon, because in my conception, the Sul, when the Sul Imperium was destroyed, they migrated not only into the Flanaess, but they also migrated down into Zahindia, where they assimilated into and took over the caste system there, kind of like the Aryan invasion theory that we have in our world, where the Aryans invaded into India in prehistory and turned into the Brahmins. The Sul will do the same thing in Zahindia.
Josh Papa, Zarathon just said, your map seems to merge BMC, but didn't BMC take place in the past, according to the Dragon Annual Map's placement of the Sul Imperium?
BMC. What am I missing?
Yeah.
What? All right, Josh, expand. BMC is Black Moon Chronicles.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh.
That was tough to do. And I know we've only got 3 more minutes.
Yeah, that's okay. We can go a little long, unless you got to go.
I got to eat.
No problem.
But yes, the Black Moon Chronicles was really, really tough to integrate into those maps. For what people who might not know what we're talking about, I had done a whole series of Beyond the Flanaess maps years and years ago in the Darlene style. And I know, Anna, you've picked up on those and used them for your own stuff. And Black Moon Chronicles was a series of graphic novels that a French author who had been in touch with Gary Gygax back in the day, Marcel Fredewall, I'm not pronouncing that at all.
He mentions him a lot.
Yeah. In Dragon Magazine articles, there's a span where he really mentions him a lot, because he helped with the unpublished version of Oriental Adventures. But the intention originally was that the Black Moon Chronicles campaign setting would be part of Western Ulek. And, then 1985 happened, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Dragon Annual 1 map, it kind of sort of uses that, but it doesn't really fit in with the maps that you see in the graphic novels. So I had to be very creative about mixing in, and things got moved a lot just to have them all work together. Plus, then I was also working in all the stuff from Chainmail with the Sundered Empire stuff, which is also in the northwest of Ulek. So making all that come together was a real challenge. It was, I made creative decisions. Other people might have made different creative decisions. That's how it works. Feel free to make your own maps if you don't want mine.
You did your best is
Yeah.
the answer to that
Yeah,
question.
definitely.
And it doesn't help that the Black Moon Chronicles, the maps are contradictory in the graphic novels themselves. And there was a video game that has its own maps that has nothing to do with the other maps. So it's a complete mess.
Welcome
but
to
I
fantasy
did what I could
cartography.
to
Yep.
integrate everything together.
Yeah,
Good point, Anna.
that's fantasy cartography. That's why I use the text sources as the primary source and not the maps, because I know now from experience that as a cartographer or illustrator, you get an art order and you have often no clue what the actual product will be, so to speak. So that's why.
Oh my God! Just look at the
text.
ground maps. Look at the
Yeah.
maps of the Central Flanness.
Yep.
The border. I keep turning this way because that's where my map is. The Aberals, look at all the different maps of the Aberals that have been published over the years. They don't match at all. Same thing with the Furion. I mean, the maps just I've tried. They just don't match. There are lakes that are here and then they're not, and then rivers move 100 miles. I mean, it's madness.
Yep.
So yes, you're correct. You can't trust the maps.
All right. We'll do shout outs, joking. Hang out for the shout outs there.
I can do that.
All right. Okay. Sounds good. Man, what a discussion tonight. We were all over the place, which is what the show's all about, right? Getting some really great information. And we found out something. There may be a Seoul City we don't even know that should be on the map somewhere or not. We don't have any idea.
Yep.
And the castle.
We got to put the Watcher Tower. What's it called?
Yeah, Watchtower,
not Watcher, Watchtower. Yeah. So we got some great things out of this. And Joe, thank you so very much for coming
Anna,
on.
what's the doggo's name?
Excuse
Anna, what's the doggo's name?
Oh, it's Minnie. She's an 18-year-old Chihuahua Terrier.
Oh,
and she's blind and deaf, but she still kind of wants food, and she's very lovable. So yeah.
Yeah, we've got a mini pincher who's 17 and diabetic and blind, and
yeah. So she's damn smart. Her wisdom has gone up to godly level. She knows how to
so she's venerable now.
Exactly. Yep. So all of her other abilities have gone down, but she's so damn smart. She spends 25 hours a day figuring out how to get treats and stuff out of me. So yeah.
That keyboard is it's what makes it hard. Is I'm always hitting the wrong thing. So Anna, what we got going on?
My atlas is more and more working on, and I'm going to get to see if I can bring a bunch of helpers on and have a meeting next Thursday on my Discord server I have a bunch of people that signed up that wanted to help me doing some of the collect all the names and stuff and put it together in Excel, and I have some other ideas that I might need some help. So we'll see if we can get together on Thursday virtually, of course, on my Discord server to discuss and set up templates and stuff. And so the work is kind of soon to start the process of actually generating page after page after page, like 100 pages of maps. So there's a few more things to iron out because I want to have all the templates so we have the procedure nailed out before I start doing it, so I don't have to go back and redo them because we realized 2 months into this that we didn't think about that. So that's one of the things. So think first and then do. That's one of the key things. So I have pestered my patrons the last 3 weeks with updates every twice a week with new ideas, and you kind of tweaked it a little bit here and margins, and we're talking bleed and printing stuff, because this is contrary to the regular big map. This is supposed to be printed, so there are certain considerations and stuff that has to do with putting it on paper. There needs to be margins, bleed, and stuff like that. So things like that, it's in there, and how much room, and should there be like a little area that is brighter so people can scribble in their own settlements and stuff like that, and so there's some of the final considerations for the page layout. But I think it will be a cool, about 100 pages or so. So Beautiful. That will be can be really cool. So that's one thing. And since we have we announced next week? Yeah, we've announced next week's. Have we announced next week's Legends and Lore yet?
No, but you can, and I can pop it up.
Yeah, because that's the other thing I've been working on.
Both Anna and I.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
We have worked on stuff that will be released next week. So yep.
we'll talk about this right now,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
I usually save it for mine, but here. So Brian Blomklotz will be coming on with us on
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, and Heraldry of Greyhawk. It would be Mike, Anna, myself, and Brian. But Anna and I kind of got together and we're like, Brian's swamped. I really have all this stuff in my campaign. Anna has stuff in her campaign. Let's start making the heraldry up ourselves too. And that's what we've been doing for the last little bit. And
Yeah.
I've been scrolling. A lot of those are Anna's old ones, but I've been secretly scrolling my new ones up on the scroller there.
Mm-hmm.
And I got 3 that are from published sources that have never been done. So I'm going to throw my little hat into the ring on these, and
Yep.
it's nothing major. But Anna's got a whole bunch of really great stuff. So we're gonna have that heraldry show on
Yep.
on
So I
Wednesday.
added a bunch on the 576 map where I gave heraldry to my own design to all the provinces that were lacking from Great Kingdom that didn't have
Yes.
heraldry, and now I'm expanding on that. So for my upcoming Shieldlands campaign, I realized that there's a bunch of heraldry that hasn't been done, and I also, in order to tie it in, I'm also doing historical heraldry so we can see how things develop and get trends and stuff like that into. So that will be ideas and stuff that you can put in your own campaign.
Please note also that everything I've done, I've gotten final approval from Anna too, so that I'm not like,
No,
oh, how's this? I'm not.
yeah, I've given ideas.
Yes, you've helped
and
me
stuff
out a
like that.
lot. So I'm
Yeah,
not. We're
some
doing
that,
this tandemly. We're each doing our own
yeah,
thing, but
mm-hmm,
we're helping each
yeah,
other out
yeah.
with
We've
it.
been
So
pestering each other with heraldry every day now for a week. So it's
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Yep,
So it's some neat stuff coming on Wednesday's show.
yep.
Well, Anna, thanks. All right, Joe. What else is cooking with you?
Oh boy. Let's see. I'm working on the other 3 modules. I'm working on D4 right now, which is City of Spiders. It'll be another free download. This is where it's an urban adventure in Errol High Kinlu, where the adventurers have to figure out what they need to do to stop the Elder Elemental God and Wolf.
I love it.
After that, I'm working on my T6, which just expands peripheral encounter areas around Temple of Elemental Evil, including another urban adventure in Verbabank.
Oh, see, I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, they're going to unknot a bit of a conspiracy in the city.
What level?
It's going to be, this is low level, because the idea is they're going to start off just hunting bandits in the gnarly forest, and then it kind of slowly dawns on them as they spiral into the center that, oh, there's somebody behind the bandits, oh, there's somebody behind them, oh, there's somebody behind them, and then, oh my god, it's the temple that we all thought was crushed 10 years ago.
See, I don't think John from Blue Box is on now, but he's starting his preliminary ideas, and he's going to start them in that Verbabank Hamlet area. That may be something he'd be interested in down the road. What's the time frame on both those?
End of year.
Okay.
And then also end of
Yeah.
year, hopefully, is going to be my Q2, which replaces the God's Awful Q1 with a proper showdown between Lolth and the Elder Elemental God.
You mean you don't want her just jumping through a mirror like they did at the end of Q1?
With
Okay.
a giant mechanical spider like the Wild Wild West movie.
Oh my gosh! Did you ever see the Kevin Smith thing on that? Oh my god, he talks about the
No,
spider.
but I can
Oh, yeah, that's you gotta watch that. Kevin Smith talks about that fucking mechanical spider thing because the producer of that was a producer. Remember, he was supposed to do Superman. He was going to do the Superman movie, and he got this producer.
With, what's his name? Yeah.
Yeah, and the producer said 10 minutes into the movie, Superman has to fight this giant monstrous spider.
I remember that. Yeah.
It's a great story.
Like,
So,
okay.
yeah, okay, what? And then he was the producer for Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
And it had the spider in it. Oh my God, that's awesome. Yes. Beautiful.
I'm also doing on my Patreon. My patrons are getting an exclusive level for Castle Mad Archmage. It's level 9 West. I'm releasing it in kind of a 1-page dungeon format each month. So each month there's like 1 page of additional material for that level. And the idea is that by the end of the year, this whole level will be described out. And that is going to be an exclusive that only Patreons get to have. So if you're a completist, for Castle of Mount Archmage know where to go.
All right, I'm putting Stolik, you're back. I'm gonna put the link up. Well, Joe, please put your Patreon link up too. Okay.
You got it.
Oh, it is in there. Okay, it is in there. Good.
Yes.
My own link, I didn't even realize I did in there. So there you go. Absolutely.
And on top of all that, I'm also working on the next series of Dragon magazine articles, which are going to be, they're going to do for Zahindia what I did for the Backludish.
Cool.
And again, those are going to be free downloads. So out of all this, the Patreon stuff's the only stuff I'm getting paid for. So
yeah, it's
which is fine.
Sit tight, guys, for shout outs here. I got a real good ball bust coming. So, Joe, thanks, man. I hope you had fun. This is a real good one. This is a fun time. This discussion.
I always have fun coming on here.
I appreciate
it. It's
awesome.
Awesome.
And definitely you got an open invitation for the 100th, which we just want to have as many Greyhawk. I don't care if we have 20 people on here. I don't care. It's just going to be a free for all for the 100th show.
Did you just say freak for all?
Freak and free for all for that 100th Gabbin. So, all right, let's see what we got going on here. We already know what's going on. Our next show on Wednesday, Thursday night, new adventure. Out of Altamira, it's called The Portal Master. So that's a homebrew by me. It'll be the Ulek defenders against slavery. We just call them the slavers, which made no sense. They're fighting the slavers, but we called them the slavers group. But it's higher level in the 8th, 9th, 10th. A group I don't think I've ever streamed with. Now, some of these characters played in the Falcon event where we did the fundraiser, so you may know some of the characters from that, but that's going to be probably at least 2 weeks, and that'll be starting Thursday. That's a Stratagem giveaway night, guys. So, all right, Stratagem is going to be giving away those cool new boxes of all the artifact chits in it. So, oh, yeah. Still shrink wrapped, yes. And Joe, the reason I did the Falcon fundraiser was I wasn't thrilled with those 3 modules, and I wanted to get it back into going there. So, slavers, the group is called the Ulek Defenders Against Slavery. A pretty nice, really powerful group. All right, next week, barring Eric Mona saying, "I'll come on next Sunday," which I was hoping he would say in chat, but it didn't get to that. This is what we got going on for Gabbin next week. Remember what we did a couple weeks ago? I'm going to continue on that. Mid-level adventuring. Oops, I just moved you guys. Get me. Mid-level adventuring in Greyhawk. Okay. So then, guess what we'll do the week after? All right. So we're going to talk about that area of that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th level. Modules that are published, modules that are third-party, homebrew stuff. We'll talk about, I got a couple up there, Tomb of Lizard King and Ghost Tower of Inverness and whatever else you guys decide want to talk to about that night. I know the low-level one was very successful and very popular, so let's go into the mid-levels, pick some areas, and just talk about stuff that's out there for published. All right? And we'll do that next week, barring Eric just saying he's coming on next week, and then we'll push us back a week. Special things going on, 3 more. Saturday the 30th, 2 weeks from yesterday, is Tim City Stadium. It's Overlord continues. Okay, a lot of us got our titles after 30 years. Now the Overlord's sending us on all these wild goose chases and missions. See where that goes, and that's with Tim DMing on Saturday the 30th. Right the week after that. Big announcement. I don't know, some of you may know, but Blue Box RPG is going Greyhawk. Okay. So, Saturday night special, Saturday, June 6th. I will on this channel, I will be DMing John and his group for this Greyhawk group, and I will do an introduction to Greyhawk Hamlet. I'm not running Village of Hamlet. I'm running in Hamlet. One of my homebrews that take place in Hamlet to get them started. It'll be first level characters. All right, so that'll be cool. And then June 9th, the Tuesday after, he starts his Greyhawk campaign with the same characters. So I'm kind of kickstarting it. Consider me their session 0. All right, that'll be fun. And then the momentous thing you're all waiting for, because it was so successful, we have the Living Greyhawk people coming back. All right. Gosh, I'm so wrong here. The adventure. It'll be on June 20th, Saturday. You ready? Living Greyhawk All-Stars. The Order of Ulek. Evil conspiracies exposed. And that's an inside joke. If you get it, Anna gets it. So I got bombarded with all these Living Greyhawk players saying, "I know there's two. The Order of Ulek is a front for an evil organization, and they're in league with the Mongrels of the Putrid Tongue, and they're all we got to, you know." It went on for 3 days, guys. So I don't know how Living Greyhawk, if it scarred those people's brains for life or whatever. But not everything is an evil conspiracy. All right, but I just put this up as a joke. We are playing that day. I haven't finalized the name of it, but yeah, the evil conspiracies will be abounding in their heads, I guess, for the most part on that. So that's what's going on. Thanks, everyone.
I
Thank
do got
you,
one
Joe.
thing before we go.
Excuse me?
I got one more thing.
Go
before we
for it.
Okay, last time I was on I guess it was Legends of Lore.
Yes.
We talked about doing a series of games at GaryCon next year, where there was going to be like we're going to mix miniatures war games and thing. We're going to do the whole the South Province thing, right? The Iron League. We're going to do an Iron League campaign at GaryCon, mixing miniature war games and D&D. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I remember Gary's in on that too, because Gary Malden, because of the Iron League. Yeah. Yep.
So we're still doing this, right?
I'm up for doing anything at GaryCon next year, man. So yeah, absolutely.
Then we got to start prepping, because I already have it mapped out in my mind.
Okay.
It'll span the entire weekend. There'll be boards in Carlos's booth and my booth where we're showing the armies moving around, and we're going to have adventures that impact the thing. We got to make this happen. It's going to be amazing.
Wow.
All right. So here's what I'm going to say to that. Virtual Greyhawk Con, which I'm trying to organize, is October 2nd, that weekend. And how about, can I start major preps after that? Do you think there's enough time? Because
I don't know.
this is going to take
March.
This is going to take a lot. It's going to take every ounce of my being to make sure that this goes off. So,
well, whatever I can do to help.
All right, excellent. That's what I wanted to hear. October 2nd, you got it there, Phantom. Hopefully, yes, and Carlos is in. Look, Carlos just said he's in 100% in whatever you need. So there we go. So you got us three, and we'll try and get whoever else is going to go there, and we're going to rock it. So kill them all, Jay. I don't know, Mike. Maybe we'll see. So GaryCon we're showing up to GaryCon on the weekend before. Maybe we'll have to, Josh, to fix that thing up. My wife will kick my ass if I do that. Stay there 2 weekends. So thanks. Yes, Joe, I'm in for whatever we want to do. I want to. This virtual GreyHawk is got to be good, right, Anna? If we're gonna do this, we got to do it the right way. So I got to put all my mental capacity into that. But then from that point, excuse me,
all weekend.
We're looking at second, third, fourth, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. I'm putting it in my calendar. That's why I asked.
Please put it in. We'll have ads coming out shortly. I'm waiting on the logo, and then we're going to start. We're going to put it on tabletop events. There's going to be a $2 registration fee. That's it. All right, because we can't make money off this. This is for the fandom Greyhawk from Wizards of the Coast fandom content thing. Any money that's left over will go to charity. We're not making a dime off this, and that's why we're going to be able to call it Virtual Greyhawk Con. So, yep. You're leaning, yes. Phantom's learning how to stream for Greyhawk Con. So we got a lot of things going on. There's going to be a lot of people participating. Please put that in. Everyone, October 2nd, 3rd, 4th, put that in. You're going to see the ads out within the next 2 to 3 weeks. We'll start advertising for it. Okay. You'll visit me in Gary. I'm not afraid of WotC. I'm not. They can throw me in jail. What are they going to do? Put me in? They're going to do put me in an RPG jail? Don't. I'll take the I'll take the hit, man. I'll take the hit. So
good, because I can say I was only following orders.
That's it. You can just say you were following orders. If they make us change the name, we change the name. What else are they going to do to us? You know, if they make us change the name, so be it. But we're gonna go with this. All right, yeah, mail me a shiv, Bishop. Thank you. You know, just cheer me another 500 some point. That'll get enough money so I can afford a shiv. So, all right, guys. Thank you, Joe. Thank you so very much.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you
guys.
so much for coming on.
Had a ball.
One more time. We're gonna raid Zambies. Okay, Zambies is still on, right?
Who's Zambies?
Zambies is one of the arts. She's an artist.
Oh, okay.
She's one of the Reaper, another Reaper sponsored artist. She's on now, so we're gonna raid into her. But let me go to the exit screen, and I'm not gonna go to my normal. Yeah, I am going to my normal exit screen, and then we'll hop in because it heralds you up. So, Joe, man, that was awesome.
Thanks, guys. Had a blast.
I will see you. Talk to you soon. Please stay in touch, okay? And if Eric
Definitely.
reaches out to you, please let me know.
Will do.
All right.
Bye-bye.
That's it. Thank you for the great show, for the compliment. Thank you so very much. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
Woo! What's that, Josh? Come on. You didn't like my joke? The Living Greyhawk guys are driving me insane. Insane. The Order of Ulek, evil exposed. Oh, you had to do. Oh man, Bishop, I was kidding, man. He just cheered 500 more. All right, I got to add 750 to the total, so we got 3 special hero points already for Thursday. All right, I'm gonna go now to this and get that up, and we're gonna raid off of that one because the Kickstarter's up, guys. Check it out. Kickstarter's the second one. Check out the Kickstarter, please. My first ever sponsor. Yeah, well, because Joe was a good guy, man. He came on. We have, Joe's not. No need for that. So, all right, let me get into the raid here. We get into over 30. That's good. Over 40. Nice. It's a lot more than that, it's 1,500. It's 1,500. Oh, Gargamon, you missed a great show. Gargamon, send me your email. You won a mini about 3 weeks ago. I need your address and your name and address, dude. Just whisper it to me. You won the female gene. I still have it. All right, on a drawing. Here we go. Raid going off. Raid now. No, we didn't raid with 1,500. No.
40.
I thought you were talking about the cheer.